in an age of endless information, the true advantage is not access, it is interpretation. Welcome to Aneke TV, where journalism goes beyond headlines, beyond reaction, beyond speculation. Here, stories are investigated, issues are analyzed, voices are challenged, because an informed society is a stronger society. A discerning audience is a powerful audience. We are live, daily broadcasting, relentless clarity. Aneke TV, where knowledge meets broadcast.
There are two types of kola nut produced in Nigeria: kola nitida, otherwise called gworo, and widely eaten in northern part of Nigeria. Kola acuminata, also referred to as Igbo kola, is of local origin and occupies an important position in social, religious, and sacred ceremonies in Igbo society. It is seen as a vital and sacred fruit in Igbo land and serves as the major instrument of prayers connecting the ancestors. It cements discussions and also the fundamental bedrock of philosophy and proverbs. It is a symbol of welcome, unity, and peace. If kola nut contains one cotyledon, it is regarded as dump kola nut and thrown away. Kola nut with 4 cotyledons represents the 4 Igbo market days: Eke, Orie, Afo, and Nkwo. If kola nut contains more than 6 cotyledons, it signifies blessings and wealth, and it is celebrated. There is also another type of Igbo kola nut called Ojugo, which is referred to as the king of Igbo kola. The reproductive organ of the kola nut is referred to as the tongue, and it is removed after prayers and thrown to the spirit of the ancestors.
Ndụ a na-atọka onye anara nke ya na ụlọ agwọ ibe anyị adị nọ ogologo ndụ arụ ike na ọdụmma ibe eji ene ndụ anya na onye nwere ibe eji ene ndụ anya na ịrụfụta nwụrụ ya ịmara na nsogbu riri ya olise bụ anyị na-ekene gị Chukwu okike onye ogologo ndụ na ogologo anya na-ahụ udo na ọchịchị anyị na-ekene na-ekene maka tata na-ayọ maka echi maka na ọsọ maka ebe echi anya mara na anyị adị ka echi na echi anaghị agwụ agwụgwụ na ihe ya adịrị anyị mma ndị be anya onwekwana ihe ọzọ na anyị enye ndị ichie dipụtara anyị na-ere nke
Every second, the world changes, markets rise, Leaders speak, stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news. You need clarity. You need speed. You need perspective.
That's why Aneke TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. Aneke TV. Move with the world. Across Nigeria's dynamic economy, enterprise is on the move. From the resilience of small businesses to the expanding reach of indigenous industries, commerce thrives on innovation, determination, and vision. Finance is evolving, powered by technology and driven by a new generation of entrepreneurs. In a rapidly changing world, digital transformation is redefining how we save, invest, and grow wealth. From energy to agriculture, manufacturing to tech, Nigeria's economic landscape continues to diversify. Policies shift, markets respond, and opportunities emerge. Every figure tells a story. Every trend shapes the future. The question is, where is the next opportunity? On Aneke TV, we bring you clarity beyond the numbers. This is Business Outlook on Aneke TV, tracking the markets, analyzing the trends, and spotlighting the drivers of economic growth. Aneke TV, informing enterprise, shaping perspective.
Many thanks for joining us and welcome to Aneke TV market segment, broadcasting live from Enugu. This Friday, the market mandate is simple: preserve capital and support the value as global energy volatility triggers sharp ripples across our local markets and domestic food prices squeeze the average household. Smart investors refusing to panic from the boardroom to open market square. We are tracking the critical shift in equity, fixed income, and consumer commodities to give you the ultimate trading edge before the weekend bell rings. The numbers are moving fast, and we have the clarity you need. And this is the business desk, where destiny meets data, and your weight finds its voice. I am Uche Osai. Let's get down to business. Turning to the financial sector, the bears tightened their grip on the customs street floor yesterday as profit-taking drove away a wave of sell-offs on the Nigerian exchange. By the closing bell on Thursday, the market recorded a negative breadth with 44 equities declining against just 19 gainers. Total trading volume across cross-examined a massive 1.05 billion shares, culminating in a total deal of 30.95 billion naira. High caps losers heavily weighed down the Osha index, pushing the overall sentiment deep into the red. And now quickly giving you a breakdown of yesterday's top performers and trailing laggards. We're looking at the top 5 performers here, where International Energy Insurance closed at 3 naira 41 kobo to make a positive adjustment of 10%. Associated Bus Company ABC, yes, closed yesterday at 9 naira 8 kobo, making a positive adjustment of 9.93%. Unilever Nigeria PLC yesterday equally closed 168 naira to make a positive adjustment of 9.80% adjustment. And looking at Academic Press, which equally was bullish yesterday, made a positive adjustment of 9.74% to close at 8 naira 45 kobo. Unicel Interlinked yesterday closed at 200 naira 95 kobo, making a bullish adjustment of 9.41% as well. And quickly moving over to the laggards, where Beja Paint, yes, Beja Paint yesterday closed at 147 naira 60 kobo in the dip of a negative 10% adjustment. Len Africa equally in the dip, closed at 11 naira 75 kobo, making a negative adjustment of 9.96%. That Communication yesterday closed equally bearish as it made a dip of 9.95% to close at 1 naira 90 kobo. RT Briscoe yesterday made a dip as well as he closed his book at 12 naira 79 kobo in the dip of 9.93%. Yes, looking at May and Baker Nigeria, which closed at 46 naira 55 kobo, equally in the dip of a negative 9.61%. I'm quickly giving you the market outlook for today, as the opening bell, prepares to ring for today's final trading session of the week. Market analysts, expect the bearish pressure to show brief signs of cooling off. Look out for institutional investors moving on cherry-picking opportunities as several blue-chip banking and consumer goods, stocks have now entered attractive entry position following yesterday's declines. However, with domestic retail investors remaining cautious ahead of the weekend, trading today is anticipated to be highly selective with moderate volumes. Expect a subtle tug-of-war between late-stage profit takers and bargain hunters looking to position themselves ahead of Monday. And turning to the foreign exchange market, the local currency put up a resilient defense in yesterday's trading section. The naira extended its marginal appreciation trend, holding firm against major global currencies following the central bank's critical policy decision this week. Data from the official window reveals that a strong build-up in foreign reserves, which now stands robustly at over $49 billion, provided the necessary ammunition for the Apex Bank to defend the local currency. Now, taking a look at the closing figures from yesterday's trading, across both the official window and the alternative parallel market, we are looking at the naira, which closed at the official market at 1,372 naira 31 kobo at the official market, whereas at the black market or the street market, it closed at 1,400 naira. And against the British pound in the parallel market or the street market, the naira was able to close at 1,870 naira, whereas at the official market it traded for 1,842 naira 16 kobo. And against the euro in the official market, we had naira selling at 1,593 naira 22 kobo, whereas at the black market or the parallel market, whichever one that suits you, it sold for 1,620 naira. And as we enter Friday's final trading session, the outlook for the naira remains cautiously optimistic and largely stable. The central bank's decision this week to hold the benchmark interest rate, steady at 26.5% has successfully sent a wave of confidence through international portfolio investors. Analysts expect that this high interest rate environment will continue to mop up excess system liquidity and keep speculative attacks on the currency at bay today. While seasonal retail demand for weekend travel and offshore payments might trigger a slight routine pressure on the parallel market, the significant convergence between both windows is expected to hold through the close of the week. Broadly speaking, the local currency enters the weekend on a steady footing, well buffered by improving macroeconomic fundamentals. As trading opens today, energy analysts expect prices to hover comfortably above the $105 threshold with significant potential for further upward pressure, and that is speaking to the Brent crude. The market today is reacting to the newly announced Persian Gulf Strait Authority, which threatens to enforce a controlled maritime zone around the closed Strait of Hormuz. With the peak summer travel season kicking off globally this weekend, escalating fuel demand is rapidly depleting commercial inventories. Unless a concrete diplomatic resolution is reached, technical indicators suggest Brent crude will maintain a strong bullish momentum today, testing the $110 resistance level before the weekend closing bells. And quickly, let's take a look at the implication of this for the Nigerian investors. And now, what does this high-priced energy climate mean for Nigeria? It presents a complex double-edged sword for the nation's macroeconomic landscape. Looking at the revenue boost, on the positive side, Brent crude trading well above the 2026 federal budget benchmark provides a significant fiscal cushion. If the Nigerian National Petroleum Company and its partners can sustain or increase daily crude production, this price surge will translate into a massive influx of foreign exchange, helping the central bank further bolster our foreign reserves. The refined fuel subsidy burden, however, the sting in the retail remains Nigeria's heavy reliance on imported refined petroleum products because global gasoline prices are hitting 4-year highs. The landing cost of petrol is skyrocketing. This places an immense unsustainable burden on the nation's subsidy framework or threatens to trigger a fresh wave of domestic pump price hikes, which would inevitably feed into headline inflation. The ultimate takeaway for Nigeria this morning is clear. High oil prices only favor the nation if domestic production lines remain secure and our local refining capacity expands rapidly enough to insulate the economy from imported inflation. And quickly, we turn now to the domestic commodities market, where Nigerian households are facing a mixed bag of relief and deep financial strain. According to the latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics, food inflation has officially overtaken headline inflation for the first in 8 months, climbing to 16.06%, while improved harvest inflows and slight drop in fuel costs, have triggered a price correction for certain items like beans and poultry. Structural logistics bottlenecks and seasonal dry season shortage continue to push up the cost of essential soup ingredients and staple grains nationwide. Crucially, the impact is not being felt evenly across the country, as stark regional variations paint a very telling picture of Nigeria's supply chain dynamics. There is a comparative look at the average market prices for staple food across 3 major hubs, Enugu, Abuja, and Lagos. Yes, quickly moving on to Ogbete market and new market in Enugu, where we can tell you that when we look at the price of local rice, yes, in Enugu, the 50 kg bag of it, sells between 58,000 to 65,000 naira, and in Abuja yesterday the price went between 45,000 to 52,000 naira, and in Lagos it went for between 55,000 to 60,000 naira. And looking at the white gari, yes, the white and yellow gari that 50 kg bag of it, sold for 28 to 30,000 in Ogbete market in Enugu, and whereas Abuja yesterday around Otako market and the rest of them bought for 22,000 to 24,000 naira, and Lagos had a fixed price across market for 25,000 naira. And looking at brown beans, yes, the 50 kg bag of it or sack, sold for 135,000 to 140,000 naira within the Enugu Ogbete new market area. And then in Abuja, yesterday the price went between 110,000 to 115,000 naira, whereas Lagos had a fixed price of 120,000. And looking at tomatoes, the big basket of tomato, sold in Enugu around the Ogbete new market between 70,000 to 75,000 naira. And then in Abuja, it went for 45,000 to 50,000 naira. Remember, Abuja is always having a bargain. And then Lagos always with a premium, paid 65,000 naira for it. And yam, the large tubers of yam that you know in Enugu is sold between 4,500 to 5,500 naira, depending on the market. And in Abuja, they always have a bargain, you know, buying for 3,000 to 3,800 naira, whereas Lagos even bought, you know, way cheaper than Enugu yesterday, as it sold for 4,000 to 4,800 naira. Analyzing these figures, the data highlights a severe localized crisis in Southeast. Enugu State currently bears the heaviest burden in the Federation, recording the highest food inflation rate in the country at a staggering 32.7%. Consumers in Enugu are paying a steep premium for staples like tomatoes and beans, you know, driven largely by high interstate transit costs and the long-distance haulage required to bring northern products down to south. And looking at Abuja, you know, Abuja continues to enjoy the lowest relative pricing among the three cities. Its close proximity to the major agrarian belts of the north central and middle belt minimizes transport markups, keeping items like rice and tubers significantly more affordable. Meanwhile, in Lagos, the market is undergoing a fragile correction phase, while prices for processed food and proteins have eased slightly due to improved maritime logistics. The cost of carbohydrates staples remain highly volatile. A 50 kg bag of white gari recently surged by 25% to hit the 25,000 naira mark, proving that nation's commercial capital is still highly vulnerable to supply shocks. With the upcoming Eid el-Kabir festivals, the fast approaching festivity may cause market analysts to warn that aggressive bulk buying could trigger another round of price hikes before the mid-year harvest fully kick in. And quickly, let's run to the international market. Yes, let's run to the international market, where we'll tell you that starting with the United States S&P 500 and the Jones, you know, slid by 0.3% and 0.2% respectively. You know, resurgent Brent crude prices and profit taking on tech giant Nvidia dragged down Wall Street's sentiment. And looking at Eurostoxx, Euro Stoxx 600, we are ended flat at 620.56 points, up 0.04%. You know, it extended its minor winning streak to 4 days, though the momentum slowed ahead of the weekend. And then at the Asian market, the Asia South Korea Kospi surged an explosive 8.4%. Yes, and then quickly, for want of time, we'll run to give you our market advice especially for the Nigerian investors. Today, we are looking at equities. We urge you to go for bargain hunt. Yes, today should be a bargain hunting for those who want to venture into equities. Do not, you know, go into panic sell. Use the bearish downturn to quietly buy fundamentally strong dividend-paying blue chips at a discount. And quickly taking a look at fixed income, if this is where you want to play, our advice is to lock in yields. You know, take advantage of the Apex Bank's 26.5% policy rate. Move excess cash into short-term treasury bills and commercial papers for guaranteed inflation-resistant returns. And then looking at the forex and commodities, if this is where you want to play at the forex and commodities, we urge you to go into hedge. Yes, protect your purchasing power against, you know, volatile oil prices and domestic food inflation by maintaining tactical exposure to dollar-dominated assets. The bottom line here is, or in summary, what we're telling you is that capital preservation is a priority for today. Cash is king. Lock in risk-free fixed income and selectively pick up underpriced market leaders. I take that again. Yes, the advice we're giving you today in summary is that today's markets should be characterized by capital preservation. That should be the priority for today. Anyone who wants to play in the market, be it the equity market, be it the forex market or the commodities market, yes, what should, you know, hinge your playing in the field today should be capital preservation. Cash is king in today's market. So lock in risk-free fixed income and selectively pick up underpriced market leaders. And that's where we'll be drawing the curtains today here on Aneke TV market segment. And we urge you to keep watching, you know, the Aneke TV market segments, and with that we'll make sure that you stay ahead of the curve and keep your investments sharp. And then we urge you to follow other programs as well. The new sports, the Aneke Sports will be coming up, where the Oracle, Sports Oracle and Worldwide will be doing the magic around the world sports, where they give you the happenings in the football world like you've never had it any other way. And after that we go into the news, news around the globe, where we'll give you latest information on the happenings around the globe. I am Uche Osai. Invest wisely.
Across Nigeria's dynamic economy, enterprise is on the move. From the resilience of small businesses to the expanding reach of indigenous industries, commerce thrives on innovation, determination, and vision. Finance is evolving, powered by technology and driven by a new generation of entrepreneurs. In a rapidly changing world, digital transformation is redefining how we save, invest, and grow wealth. From energy to agriculture, manufacturing to tech, Nigeria's economic landscape continues to diversify. Policies shift, markets respond, and opportunities emerge. Every figure tells a story. Every trend shapes the future. The question is, where is the next opportunity? On Aneke TV, we bring you clarity beyond the numbers. This is Business Outlook on Aneke TV, tracking the markets, analyzing the trends, and spotlighting the drivers of economic growth. Aneke TV, informing enterprise, shaping perspective.
Aneke television. How agribo di egwu nkwazo na ahia mgboji ogwugwu kakwa ogwugwu ema. How mbo wa bia na ihe ebube eme. Mgbagbu wa gbatawa na ihe ebube emewa. Aneke television na-emere ogbe ya mere amadi ihe. Ị na-agba nkwụ, ị na-eme nkepụta nwa, ị na-akwa ozu, ị na-agba akwụkwọ. Bịawa na Aneke television, bịa ka ezuoru ozi ọma. Bịawa na Aneke television yidume. How na-emere ogbe ya mere amadi ihe. Ụmụ Igbo bịawo na nke a bụ nke anyị. Ị mara ebe oge ọrụ etiwo mọnwụ ntakịtụkwa mọnwụ si nne. Ya mere ha ji wee weta Aneke television. Ọ bụ onye gbagburu agụ nna, ọ dị na soshal midia, ọ dị na mgbagbu, ọ dị n'Enugu State, ọ dị na
The eagles stand as a majestic symbol of strength, clarity, and vision. Its ability to soar above storms signifies resilience, while its shaped sight represents focus. This is why many nations, including Nigeria, use the eagle as an emblem of nation pride. Eagles do not fear challenges, they embrace them. They fly higher when the winds become strong, rising above obstacles rather than avoiding them. This teaches us that problems are not barriers, but stepping stones for those who dare. To live like an eagle is to stay focused, courageous, and disciplined. It is to see opportunities where others see only difficulties. The sky is not your limit, it is your launch pad.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Sports on Aneke TV. This morning, it is your one and only sports oracle. I breathe, I live, and I dream sports, bringing you the best of what is happening across the world of sports, from Formula One to the Tigers fixtures that is coming up later this year, and down to the selection of a new coach for the Tigers national senior team, and also going down to Cristiano Ronaldo winning finally after the long awaited shift. They had to clinch to the title and have to take away the trophy by 4-1 yesterday, where Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2 goals. The man Cristiano Ronaldo, the GOAT of some call him the greatest of all time, while some call him that he is not the greatest of all time. Anyone, he yesterday proved to many of his fans that he is still agile and he can deliver at the top and also at the best. We're also talking about sports. We are talking about a lot of things which will be coming your way today, and it is interesting that you stay with us and have your ears and eyes to see as we bring you the latest updates in the world of sports, tennis, F1, any of it. We're going to bring it your way this morning. Yes, as we always do, and as I always do, because now you have joined me. This is Worldwide. Worldwide, good morning.
Good morning. You know, when you are making your introduction, I would not just want to overskip where you said, Cristiano Ronaldo has won the, first trophy of his career in the club he's currently at. And, yesterday I was pleading that, he should get a win. And for me, yesterday was like, will I say my birthday? It was something like I was feeling like it was my birthday, because of course the GOAT argument is between Ronaldo and Messi. Everybody has his preference. For me, that's an argument for preference. You have the person you like, I have the person I like. Both of them are great players, but yesterday was amazing for me. I could not see the match because of maybe weather conditions. The network was was terrible yesterday.
Weather conditions?
It was raining.
Okay. I thought it was snowing.
No. I'm still in Nigeria.
I thought it was snowing.
No, I was not over there, so it was raining. My network could not stream the match live for me, so I was pained yesterday that I could not watch it. But of course, I was following up. When he scored, when he had his free kick. It was an at least at the time I was able to watch some part at the time the network was skipping. But yesterday was awesomely amazing for me, and congratulations to not just Ronaldo. We have the likes of Sadio Mane there, who is currently AFCON holder. Then we have João Felix. We have so many other great guys, but this being their first trophy, they have fought. That's why I say maybe this year is just a year of testimonies. Many clubs are coming down with testimonies. We have the likes of Arsenal have won the league title for what they have been praying for more than 22 years. We have Aston Villa that have won another trophy for about 100 and something years. Now we are having Cristiano Ronaldo's club Al Nassr coming to win their league title. So maybe it's a year of testimony. Maybe some great things are coming by the way.
Yes,
so
of course. Some great things are coming by the way.
There are a lot to celebrate this.
Yes, actually,
this May, there are
a lot to celebrate. But first of all, let's go into the world of tennis.
Yeah.
When you talk about tennis, when you talk about the updates that are coming, you will see that it is quite interesting to learn that Novak Djokovic is he is still pushing his career to have another Grand Slam.
I think that name sounds like a veteran name.
Yes, he's a veteran.
Yeah, because I've
he's
heard
a veteran.
Very well.
Yes, he's a veteran. Now, he's a veteran. Even Rafael Nadal has retired from tennis.
Yeah,
he's a veteran name like Serena Williams,
the
Williams sisters, and the rest of them. All of them, some of them are still having a good time. But Novak Djokovic is having the road to the final, where he will be having another Grand Slam, and it's coming in a few days' time. It is something very important that when I was growing up, I watched Novak Djokovic. I watched him.
It was those Serena Williams, Gomez. Then you have Rafael Nadal. That was basically the fundamental names we knew then in tennis. And then I was not, though I did not play long tennis, but at least I played table tennis to some extent, but Serena Williams, Rafael Nadal, then that Djokovic is that there are names that we have, peculiar to this game. So still hearing that name to this extent,
then we also have Jannik Sinner. Jannik Sinner is also going to the final. I think the final should be between him and Novak Djokovic.
The final is sounding like a John Cena.
It sounds like John Cena actually, but both of them are going to have it in the finals, and it's going to be something very interesting. Still talking on boxing. Sorry, still talking on tennis. We have 2026 Roland Garros. That's the round 1, featuring Alexandra Ella and Eva Jovic. Yes, Alexandra Ella and Eva Jovic. These two are going to clash in the round 1 of the 2026 Roland Garros. That is actually something that we have seen. One thing I've really learned in sports so far is that the inclusion of women makes sports a balanced game.
Yeah, you might not want to, at this stage that the world is developing, the world is going abroad, you don't want to leave out, they always fight for gender equality, all those. But at this stage, we should not be in that era of football or sport is just for men. We enjoy, sometimes you even watch the female Premier League, you watch them in the basketball team, the Tigress, you watch them, doing, even they play ice hockey, they play rugby, women also play, even wrestling, women are also there. So we are not in that generation where you just neglect women, that they should not be involved in sports. It makes it, complete, it makes it balanced, it makes it seem more entertaining when you watch them, proving that they always like to go with that statement that what a man can do, a woman can do better. So it's good that we are seeing them in these various sports.
Really, I think there's no world without women.
No, of course
there's no sport
before we
without
come
women.
into this existence, you have to pass through.
Yes, there's no world without women, there's no sport without women, and there's no activity, there's no sport without women. Women bring balance.
Cannot participate.
Yes, actually, there's no kind of sport women cannot participate. There are some kind of sports maybe men cannot participate.
Yeah, of course.
But it's only women.
Women that can participate.
You get that because I have seen a lot of sports talking about you see Red Bull sports where the bike race, you see the
No, women are ready to take any risk.
They're ready to take any risk. However, all I'm saying is I wanted to call it Okada race.
No, it's not.
Because that's actually Okada race.
Yeah,
if you bring it down to
the extent now they drive that bike, you cannot compare to where you go above some certain
level. But it's motorbike.
Yeah,
actually,
it's motorbike. It's our Okada in our local dialect, but it says the performance there is no more like
it's very intense, and I feel women can get that done.
Any extent of
right now women I've not seen a woman.
No, fair enough. If you give them that opportunity, just let's say they have not had that opportunity. If you give them that opportunity, like you host a tournament that this bike competition is for women, you will see people coming out. They will turn up.
Well, they will actually turn up. Now let's go over to the street circuit elite. Okay. I mean, those are the people that have been winning the Canadian GP, the Canadian Grand Prix in Formula 1. People that have been winning that particular section of race in the Formula 1. I mean, starting from many years ago till this year, last year it was George Russell. Remember, we've been talking about Formula 1. We've been very intentional with the race that is coming up, where we're going to be having the likes of Lewis Hamilton. We're going to be having the likes of George Russell. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, they are becoming household names in this Formula 1 game, and they have been doing so well. They just like Kimi Antonelli the other time he won the last Formula 1 race, and now he was among the people to podium finish so far this season. He had to be in pole position 1, and he finished. He has had 4. He's just 19. He's very young. And you have George Russell too. Then you also have Larry, that's from Ferrari. You have Larry just 2. Then also you have Piastri 2. Then also you have Hamilton 1. Then you have Lando Norris. Piastri and Norris, they are from McLaren. Now it looks like teams are being they are dividing themselves. Mercedes, then you have Ferrari, then you have McLaren. And I want us to see the street circuit elite, previously Canadian Grand Prix winners, people who have won Canadian Grand Prix since 2017 down till now. We have Hamilton won it with Mercedes in 2017, and in 2018 that's Ferrari. Vettel won with Ferrari. Then in 2019 Hamilton wants to be the Alex Ferguson of
he's the grand champion of Formula 1. You can't take it away from him.
Yes, of course. Now we have in 2022 we have Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen had to win it in 2022. Then in 2023 Verstappen is actually
that person that is doing something.
Yes, he's the Ferguson of F1. Now we have in 2024 Max Verstappen won it again. Then in 2025 last year there's George Russell won it last year. This year who's gonna win the Canadian GP, the Canadian Grand Prix? That's actually a question.
I think I'm tipping that young guy.
You are still tipping Kimi Antonelli.
The Yamal of F1.
The Yamal of
That's
F1.
the person I'm playing with, because I might want to say I want to go to Hamilton, but I think that's a legendary name. But I want to give my hopes on this young, promising superstar that is coming up at the Formula 1. So I want to see. Hamilton has had his time. He has enjoyed every moment of F1, but this new guy that is coming up, I think I want to tip him to win the competition.
We're going to see his then and now. I mean, his then in the Canadian Grand Prix, where he was in 2025. Now, the pre-Canadian Grand Prix. That's a lot changed in a year for Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli, yes, a lot changed in a year for him. And that is so amazing that he had a lot changing in a year. Looking at the stats, it is very interesting to have most points in the first F1 championship. Just a year ago, he had just an F1 podium. But now let's take a look at the stats. He had 3 wins, then 3 pole positions, 7 podiums, 5 latest laps, then youngest ever pole sitter, second youngest race winner in F1. Then he had only driver to secure a hat-trick in their first 2 F1 wins. First driver to convert first 3 poles to wins. The youngest driver to win multiple races. Youngest world championship leader. This guy is actually so amazing. This guy is actually so amazing. And I mean, looking at how young he is and the history is about to make. Remember, it was this way Lewis Hamilton started this way too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this guy started off more even from what Lewis Hamilton did at this age. This guy has done more. From this record, I believe he has broken so many records right now. He has created more records, more than Lewis Hamilton. So he's someone that we should watch out for.
We should watch out for him because I of a fact want Kimi Antonelli to have this victory like you predicted. Yeah. But it's all about the pole position. It's actually all about his position.
Where he starts from.
Where he starts from. If you start from the back, you may end up in the back.
It will be difficult to overtake from the back, having to come to pass how many players before you get to the front. So that pole position, I believe, is something that is very important. Where you start off the race, if you have 30 people trying to drive across any road and you are starting from the front, is way more advantageous than where you are starting from the back, trying to overtake more than 29 people to get at the front. Even the fact that you have to create space to overtake is something else. So that pole position that he tries to get to the front, at least if he's not starting from the first position, he's starting at the second position, is something that is giving him an advantage.
All right, let's take a look at what Hamilton said in his press conference that he had with the people as he's preparing, as he's getting ready for the F1 Grand Prix in Canada. He said, "I'm going to be here for quite some time." He said
he has been here for quite some time.
Yes, and he said he's confirming
he's going to be here
for quite some time. That he's going nowhere. He's actually going nowhere. That he's actually interested to see that he clinches to being a champion as he has always been. It is very important to know that Lewis Hamilton has been amazing. And when you talk about someone, he's the face of F1,
of course,
and he has been the face of F1 for many years. Let's see his word. He says, "I'm going to be here for quite some time, so get used to it."
Yeah, I believe he's
he's
talking directly to the young lad.
Yes,
he's just telling him directly that you should be prepared. You should not just think that it's going to be a walkover for you.
Yes,
no reason like you're having some great time that now I'm going to be here. You should be, it's more of like telling him to feel that this is going to be a competition. Don't just come into the race feeling like, of course, you are the young lad that everybody's tipping to win.
Yeah.
I'm here. You should know that like a master is here, a veteran is here. Be ready to drive to your best. So that is just like a motivation to the young lad to get prepared for the race.
But actually, his statement saying, "I'm going to be here for quite some time," looking at how much he may have lost. And not being able to clinch to have his positions since he went to I will tell you for a fact, since he went to drive for Ferrari since last year, I mean 2025, since last year he went to drive for Ferrari, it's been like as if he's shaking. He's not really consistent.
Of course, another factor is that he's wearing off, or age is telling on him already. These things, you can imagine the intuition of having to drive at a young age. You are very agile at that moment. It's just like every other sport that, compared to when you are young and when you are getting old, Hamilton will not be that agile on the wheels anymore. So him even driving for either Ferrari or Mercedes might not be the real factor that he's not getting the wins. But of course, he has tried his best. He has won this competition so many times. Age is also telling on is that drive, that motivation is not there. But compared to someone like Antonelli that is still coming on very young, very motivated, has the drive.
If both of them go head to head,
that young guy might
that young guy because I think him being young gives him
an advantage. Anywhere in sports, you being young is an advantage.
But experience beats
experience. But there are some sports that you require that energy more than the experience. Like in football, now you have the experience, but you might not have the energy to execute your experience.
I'm going to be here for quite some time, so get used to it. Yeah. Who do you think Lewis Hamilton is talking to?
We are aware of who he's talking to. You only be talking to the person that is doing you know, greater things or some things that you have done before in the competition. So it's only fair that you should say that he's talking to this young lad. Well, I'm not looking at it in the direction that he's just trying to create, will I say, fear in this young lad to know that there is someone here. You know, you have to put your best to try and create that history that I have made before. So it's just motivating the young guy to do your best. It's not, I don't see it in that negative direction.
I guess my viewers may not know who Lewis Hamilton is, and I would want us to see Lewis Hamilton.
They should probably have.
Yes. No. You know, there's something about having Lewis Hamilton on your screen
in F1. I think most people. Anyway, probably some people might not know him.
I want us to have Lewis Hamilton on the screen, because when you this guy is someone who opened up. If you're talking about Lewis Hamilton in driving, in F1, in Formula 1,
that's just the name you have in F1 those days. Then, you know, for me, F1 and golf, you have Lewis Hamilton there, then you have Tiger Woods there. Those are the names.
Yes, Tiger Woods, of course. Yes.
You know, when you talk about golf, you know Tiger Woods, that's the name. You know, when you talk about Formula 1, this F1 that we used to hear there is Lewis Hamilton. So I think
before we move to the next story, I want my viewers to know,
of course,
and see.
At least they should see the face.
They should see the face we're talking about. They should see this wonderful guy. You know, rumors came out the other day where they said allegedly that that he's in a relationship with what's the name, Kardashian. So it could be the reason why he may not be at his best.
Well, anyway, they are all rumors.
They are all rumors.
You being in a relationship doesn't mean you will not fall behind.
Well, I don't know, but then I think we have to go on short break, and when we return, we're actually going to see more of the sports, because we have a lot of things to still bring your way, and we have many of this updates: football, tennis, and also basketball to get you along going this morning. For now, let us have a short break. We'll be right back.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you walk. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at the combination between Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren. This season, what has the race been like? What has the race been like? What have the driving, what have the points been like, where we have Mercedes have taken 180 points. Mercedes have taken about 180 points, and Ferrari has taken 110 points, and McLaren has taken 94 points. Yes, looking at this, you still see that Mercedes, they are still taking their rounds to qualify for a lot of driving. Now we see in the Ferrari side, they have points after 4 rounds. They have 57 in 20. They had 57 in 2025. Then in 2026 they had 110 points after 4 rounds. Yes, they had 110 points after 4 rounds. It looks like it was this season that they woke up. I'm talking about Ferrari, 57 last year. Then this year they've had 110 points after 4 rounds. And looking at this point, you have a Mercedes 180 points. Then you are having Ferrari 110 points. Actually, why it looks like Ferraris, we are talking about Ferraris because of Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, of course. If he was not there, maybe they might not even accumulate up to this point, safe.
Yes, of course.
I believe he's not the only person that is driving for Ferrari. There are other guys there driving for Ferrari. So him being there is giving them, still at this age, he's still giving them up to 110 points. I don't know the other drivers that are there, but he's doing great. Apart from the young man that is driving for Mercedes, that is putting a lot of effort to see that Mercedes comes out with a lot of win this season.
Yes, it's actually what we're seeing. Now let's take a look at the 2026 USA 3x3 women's national team. This is a women's national team for the 2026 USA 3x3. This is the basketball team, and where we'll be having the World Cup that will be coming. That's a FIFA, that's FIBA World Cup. That's Federation of International Basketball Association. They are World Cup. You know, we have been talking about football a lot, and every point in time,
we have forgotten that there are other World Cup coming up.
Other World Cup coming up.
Just football World Cup. Yes. Basketball also having their own World Cup.
Yes, of course. Now we have there's a women's national team, and they are getting ready to get along. And looking at them, this is from the USA. They all look. Why I'm raising the story? They are all black
for the World Cup.
No, they like, I mean, the top guys who have been playing for them, they are all black.
Well, I don't know if it's that Africans
no, they are
nationalizing there or something.
Yes, they look like random Igbo girls. Yeah.
You know, these guys tend to, you know, they are maybe of African origins, and at the end of the day, they don't have opportunities to play for, you know, any African team. So at the end of the day, they nationalize somewhere else where they are given the opportunity. And these guys want to take advantage, you know, when countries like England or US or Spain, you know, see opportunity that this, you know, black have energy. We have energy in all these sports. So when they see that they are performing well, of course you want to take advantage of it. Now, since they are not nationalizing at their own, you know, home country, of course, why not come to play for our country and give us some victories?
Yeah, but looking at them, they look like Ngozi.
They look like more of the Igbo girls.
Chinenye.
The strength these ladies have, you know, they will take you up to almost 60 to 90 minutes, and they will be playing.
And they'll still be playing. Yeah. That's very important. Now let's take a look at the Group B schedule for the FIBA. That's now we're down to the Tigers of our Nigerian side. The Tigers. We're talking about the Group B schedule of the Tigers. What is going to happen? What we're expecting from the schedule, where Nigeria is going to take on South Korea. Nigeria going to take on South Korea by September 4th. Then the time is 2:30. Then by September 15th, Nigeria is going to take on. This is Iran.
Yeah, this looks like Iran. Yeah.
Iran by 4:15. That's the next day. Then by September 7th, Nigeria is going to take on France by the same. That's in 2 days time, or yes, in 2 days time they're going to take on France. And looking at this Group B, still talking about that, David Ritzveld have been appointed. He has been appointed as the Tigers coach. Yes, he was appointed as the Tigers head coach. Even through the history, he has made a lot of mark in the world of sport, and he has been appointed. That is something that they are going to, you know, having to change hands in a coaching crew in the top of the league, and then having to, you know, make some adjustment is very important. He has been appointed national team head coach. That's for the Nigerian Basketball, our Nigerian Basketball Association. He has been appointed, and we're going to see what happens with them at the last game. We're going to see how much they have been ready and what is going to be like as they move ahead in the game. Now, I just want us to, you know, take a look at this thing that is very, very important in the world of sports. Remember, we're still talking about women. I don't know how, when I look at it from the point of sports, basically, you're looking at a guy, like a man, coaching women. I feel like it's important
for you to allow the ladies to coach themselves.
No. To allow the men to coach the women, it's important.
Yeah, funny enough,
it's actually mixed psychology.
There are women coaching men these days.
Yes.
In Union, I think one club in Germany, I think Union Berlin, it's a woman, their recent head coach. It's a woman coaching the guy. So it's like what we have said before, it's bringing a balance. You know, there is no base for any inequality. Football does not preach racism, it does not preach inequality. So they're just trying to bridge the gap. If you are a man and you are well qualified, you know what it takes to coach these female lads, to a competition, and you are doing well, why not? It's not because you don't have to be a woman to coach a woman in sports. We are not gender based in all this kind of thing. When it comes to sports, a man can coach the female team, a woman can coach the male team. So it's something that promotes equality among gender.
All right, now let's take a look at football. Let's take a look at the Super Eagles, those who were called up. Talking about the Ikorodu, we saw a lot of lists yesterday. Now we have their pictures. So talking about the guys who were called up from Ikorodu City and Rangers. Yes, Ikorodu City and Rangers, the guys who were called up. And we're talking about Chibweze Oputa and Iboke. They were called up for the Unity Cup. They are going to London. They are going to represent Nigeria in that friendly. I mean, big ups to Eric Chelle for having to.
It took his time. That was why he was asking that they should allow him to go like on a tour to watch these young guys play. The Nigerian Premier League was still on then when he was requesting for this. Out of that 18 points that he requested for, there was a point that he said he wants to go around, to watch these guys, to see what they do while they were playing for the home-based team. And kudos to the organizers, the management of NPFL for allowing him to take this tour. Now he's bringing in the young ones, to the Nigerian football team. At least it's something that we should applaud him for.
All right, now let's take a look at today's. I mean, on Sunday is the final.
Yeah. It's
final.
It's Rangers. A tight corner for
for Rangers.
The league is so tight. I believe, apart from Premier League and all those things, right now the toughest, or the league that is tightest right now is the Nigerian Premier League. We have a team leading the other team with just 1 point. After all, the rest European teams, they have all won their competition right now. But now our focus is on the Nigerian Premier League. That we have club like Rangers topping Rivers United with just 1 point, and Rangers have an away game to play. Rivers United have a home game to play. Now it all boils down to who gets the win.
Who actually gets the win?
If Rangers should get the win, they are automatically the winners of the Premier League. If Rivers United to get the win and Rangers in any, I would not even want to say that. I would not even want to say that. Play a draw, just a draw, and Rivers United should get a win. That would be the end. So the ball is right in front of Rangers to just get a win. You have nothing else to do with a draw. Get a win. 1-0 is enough for you to lift the league. So I'm urging the guys in the Rangers.
We should actually have the pictures of the Rangers guys.
Yeah,
where they are, like some of them. Like we had Sanchez the other day.
Yeah, he was here with us.
Yeah, they have started their training yesterday. They trained.
Match on Sunday. You should be trained.
They had yesterday. They trained, and they are going to travel this evening or tomorrow. They're going to travel to Ikorodu. Yes, they're going to travel to Lagos, and we expect to see the best and have the best for them. Really, it is important.
Very important. Right now, this is not the time to give away that lead. It's something that is going to be so devastating. It's going to be heartbreaking for them.
Like we heard from Sanchez. Yes, we'll have them on the screen shortly. Like we heard from Sanchez. They have done all they
have done their best. Right now, it's just for Sunday to come.
For Sunday to come, and there's a way you act. That you will prepare. You now over prepare.
Right now, they are over prepared. Just like you have a final to play. It's like you are putting in your life in this final. It's like a final. Of course, it's not between you and Rangers, but it's between you and Ikorodu City. So it's like a final to you. Everything is at stake in this match. If you must not even get a draw in this match. So it's more like get a win by all means. If you have to, break a leg or break a hand, just get a win for yourselves at least.
Okay.
To enjoy the victory.
Okay. Before we continue, we have to go on a short break to bring you more updates and make you understand what is actually happening, how it is going, and we're going to delve right into this Rangers and the world of football, especially the list of those who are coming out for the World Cup. Those are England.
Yeah,
they're about to release their list. So there's tension.
I think it's today. There are so many rumors around.
There are so many rumors. Yeah. Then Norway is out. Senegal is out. We're going to see it as we deal with those issues. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly.
Every second The world changes, markets rise, leaders speak, stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news, you need clarity, you need speed, you need perspective.
That's why Aneke TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Every second, the world changes, markets rise, leaders speak, stories unfold. To keep up, you don't just need news, you need clarity, you need speed, you need perspective.
That's why Aneke TV brings you the global pulse. Accurate, reliable, right when it matters most. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Alright, welcome back. Now we take a look. We're still talking about Rangers preparation, how they are getting ready, and we have been in the MPFL for a while trying to understand how Rangers is getting ready for their game against the Ikorodu City in Lagos. Yes, at Ikorodu City's home, at their own pitch, and this is something that we have been expecting Rangers to understand, that the world, I will not say just the state, but the world is watching. And right now, I asked Sanchez when he came the other day, what is expected, how we have improved in our NPFL, what are the preparations, how we have married technology into sports. He had to clear us on that a little. Now I asked him some questions about camera, where to watch the game live, and if there is actually a dedicated channel where we're going to be seeing a lot of our MPFL league, because it looks like the fan base is very low. I mean, the turn up on the internet is very low. People don't get to see the games, and he confirmed that there's an app. What do you remember the app?
Yeah, he said
MPFL Live, yes. Yeah. MPFL Live, that is actually the app that we're going to be using, that you have to use to stream the game. And even as World Cup is coming, there will be a lot of streaming stations, streaming apps. In fact, YouTube and FIFA are going to have a connection this time, and some of the World Cup matches will come to you live from your YouTube. It could be like a YouTube Live, something like that. But then we're going to take a look at that. Now, before we move into the next discussion, the next football banter that we have, let's just take a look at the Rangers preparation a little bit, how they're training, photos of their training, what they're doing, how they're getting ready to, put themselves together, what they have been doing so far to ensure that they have the team moving. What I want to ask you a question. Looking at Rangers and the preparations that they are having, do you think if you put Rangers in front of people like Manchester United, they can win Manchester United?
Well, I would not say they can win Manchester United right now, because of course there are levels to this football team. You will not just put Rangers in front of Manchester United. This Manchester United that play a top level football, and these Rangers that are coming up, so you will not put them in that shoes, except it's a friendly match, of course. But nevertheless, it's a preparation that they know. In fact, they are aware that it's going to take them everything they have. They are going to have to give everything 100%, or even more than 100% for this competition. This is something they have been looking up to. This is something they have been dreaming about. This is something they have been hoping to achieve since the beginning of this season, since they have been on top of the table. And this is not the time to let go. They have a lot of time to prepare, and they have been preparing. I can tell you for a fact that as a footballer, at least I played football for some time. As a footballer, when you have just one match to lift the trophy, you give it all your best. This is not the time to slack behind or want to come late to training session. Everything have been in place even before today. The match is on Sunday. today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday. They are going to do the best to get to that level. But at least Rangers, if you put them right now, for me, in front of Manchester United, right now as it is, Manchester United might not even be able to get a win against Rangers because they will be they are so prepared that they want to give it. Manchester United will not have, probably they don't have anything to play for right now. They have qualified for the Champions League. They will just want to play football to entertain themselves. But right now, Rangers want to prove to a reasonable extent that we are well prepared for this final match. Defensively, they will not want to concede a goal, while offensively they will want to score at least 2 to 3 goals to secure the point. So putting them in front of Manchester United, they might get a victory right now, but that does not mean that on a good day they should be winning Manchester United. But right now, as things stands, what is at stake is that they want to win the NPFL, of course, the league, and they will be well prepared. So Rangers versus Manchester United, I might tip you that Rangers might get a win right now because they are fully prepared for anything that is coming up. So that's what my prediction is.
That's actually my prediction too. Rangers are getting ready. Now let's get into the man of the moment. The man of the moment. We're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who yesterday had a trophy. That trophy has been one of the things he has been going for.
It's been a long time coming. This is what he almost all his days, well, let's say his days at Adnas, he has lost some trophy, that maybe for one competition or the other. But you see, this particular trophy, this is what he has been gunning for. This is like, just like Arsenal has been gunning for the Premier League, this is what he has been gunning for, the league title.
Now, what's Sadio Mane doing there? What's Sadio Mane doing there?
I don't know, maybe it was, this was taken when Ronaldo was lifting.
Yes.
Of course, all of them had their time.
Yeah, they had their time, yes.
The spotlight will definitely be on Cristiano Ronaldo.
On the man.
That's why I'm saying we should not take out all these other guys. We have Koeman. Koeman
is here.
Sadio Mane is in this team. João Felix is in this team. They have so many great guys in this team that this trophy that they lifted, it's something they desired right from time. Yes. So they have been fighting for it.
Yes, they have been fighting for it. Now we're going to take a look at what is in Cristiano Ronaldo's cabinet, the trophies, how his cabinet looks. This guy would actually go down as one of the most decorated.
The only trophy remaining for
he's winning in life.
This is children.
Yes, he's winning. He's winning in life.
He's not even in this picture.
That's what I'm saying. He's winning in life. He's winning in the.
He's having
on and off the pitch. He's winning everywhere.
Beautiful family.
Yes, with Georgina Rodriguez, and the twin. One was he lost one there. He's winning everywhere.
He has a beautiful family.
The
first boy is not even here.
Yes, it's not here. That boy is now taller than him. I would say.
almost the same height.
Yes, of course.
I think he's playing for Arna's team.
Yes, he's playing for Arna's team. I watched him yesterday. I watched some part of his clip yesterday when he was trying to get the ball and score a goal. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is winning off and on the pitch. This man is the man of the moment.
In this life, this is somebody that came from nothing. He used to tell his story when he was still with his mom, trying to have a life in the football.
Where were you?
Well, I was trying my best. I was also trying to play football then. Yeah. I played a little bit, but this guy that was so determined, he was so dedicated.
Yes.
His life as sporting, he's the only one that could tell the story that he was like a street footballer. He played football on the streets, just like our guys here who play. You play on the sun. Sometimes you play under the rain. Sometimes you play under the hot sun. So he was doing these things basically. At the end of the day, he got into sporting from where he got into Manchester United, and we all know the story. Went to Madrid, went to Juventus. He has won almost all the leagues that he has been to. He has won the Premier League. He has won La Liga. He has won Serie A. Now he's at Saudi Arabia. He has won the league. I can't remember if he won the league at Sporting, but this is a man that I would say God has favored. God's hand is on this man. The only thing remaining, and which for me I don't even see it as anything important right now, is the World Cup.
But what if he wins the World Cup?
He has achieved. There is nothing left. He has achieved all that can be achieved in football.
And he will go down as the greatest footballer of all time.
He will go down as the greatest footballer of all time, just like Messi. The only thing Messi fan will say now is that Ronaldo does not have a World Cup. But what is there if Ronaldo does not have
What if he wins the World Cup? Now take a look at this is from
imagine all the trophies that somebody has won in his lifetime.
He has won the Champions League 5 times, FIFA Club World Cup 4 times, The Premier League 3
That's
times.
In the English Premier League, we should be aware. This Premier League, he has many of it. So this one is the England Premier League.
Yes, the English Premier League. Then UEFA Nations League 2 times. La Liga 2 times. Serie A 2 times. Copa del Rey 2 times. League Cup 2 times. Spanish Super Cup 2 times. Italian Super Cup 2 times. UEFA Super Cup 2 times. Coppa Italia once. Portugal Super Cup once, FA Cup once, Community Shield once, UEFA Euros once, Saudi Pro League. Now, the incoming Saudi Pro League, this guy.
No, he has won it all for me. I don't even see the World Cup as anything to justify that he's the greatest.
And yesterday he was the man of the match.
Of course, he saw the
free kick. Yes, that free kick was awesome. Then the other goal. Then you are talking about the Coman's goal and Sadio Mane's goal. You know, these guys are on fire. I will tell you.
They were ready for the match.
They were ready for the match, and they deserve it all. They really actually deserve it all. Now, I mean, I'm wondering what kind of discipline would you ever have that this your year having clocking in your 40s, you are still vying. And yesterday when he scored that free kick, he was crying. He was so emotional.
It's something emotional, you know. That's to show you the extent, the commitment that he has put into this game. You know, when he lost the cup last week against Gamba Osaka, he was also crying. Even when they played the 1-1 draw before this match, prior to this match, there was a match that they had to play 1-1 draw. If they have won that match, they will have won the league. But he ended up playing 1-1 draw against Al Hilal. That's the other people that are second right now in the table. He was crying. He was in tears. You know, Ronaldo is someone that is so emotional. When he does not win, he tends to, you know, show his emotions so loud that you can see him crying or sometimes so frustrated. So
I actually think discipline makes you emotional.
Yeah, discipline.
What I'm saying, discipline makes you emotional. Discipline makes you, when you are disciplined and you have worked so hard, you have
you know how much of training that this guy
how much
does.
of training you have taken in. Then it makes
not
you
just physically. His diet,
when you don't get it right, it gets you emotional. You're not so emotional because of how much you have put in. You're emotional because of how.
You know, that's why I say sometimes when we give excuses like Mbappe has a lot of money, Vinicius has a lot of money, that's why they are misbehaving. Sometimes I tend to say no. You cannot tell me right now that Mbappe's money or Vinicius' money that he has achieved in football is even half of what Ronaldo has. But this is a man that when he loses not a final, just a match, is tearing up, you know.
You
want to bring him money to it.
You know, the other day we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and I was telling you that Cristiano Ronaldo would even go down as one of the best coaches in the world. Why I'm saying that is because Cristiano Ronaldo, what I've learned so far about coaching, about, you know, organizing a team, is not just about tactics. It's about the mentality.
Yeah, the mentality.
Ronaldo is someone, if he has the privilege, or if he ever gets to your team, you all would want to win.
And he will push that mentality.
It is a mentality thing. That's why you see some clubs, not that they don't have the right players, because you have 11 players and I have 11 players. So what is actually happening on the pitch? You have people, you have strikers, I have strikers, you have midfielders, I have midfielders. So what exactly is happening?
Of course, the mentality is apart from that there are different levels that will play this game. Of course, my level or the strength I play as an attacker might not be the same level that your attacker plays, but the mentality that you push to these guys,
of course.
Come on guys, whether you are, you know, sometimes let's assume Burnley want to play Manchester City, and you know, of course, the like of Haaland is at Manchester City, then Burnley does not have that great guy that plays that attack. But when you push that mentality to them that don't mind whether you are seeing Haaland in this thing, don't mind whether you are seeing Doku in this thing, let's get a win. And you see, that's what Mourinho did so well when he was at Chelsea. He did it so well when he was at Porto. Porto did not have that much great guys in the field, but the mentality gave them that there is nothing like you cannot do this thing. These are human beings. They have one head like you. It's just the same person. We are 11 players. They have 11 players. We go into the field. Play your game, you get a win. If it's 1-0 Mourinho gets, he will secure that 1-0 till 90 minutes. He is not bothered of whether you give me 3-0 or 4-0. So that's the mentality he pushes to them, that you can win anything.
That you can win anything. Now let's take a look at the World Cup list of Germany.
Of course.
I mean, the German side, they released their list yesterday, and it's something that a lot of people have been making comments about. And Well, we are starting with the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
You know, I think we talked about this the other day, but they have to arrange it very well now. Where we have Oliver Baum, then we have Mane Noor, we have now is going to the World Cup, and it is one of the best things that would happen to him.
This should be his last. In fact, this is his last dance.
Last World Cup, last dance.
There's nothing like you tell no.
I think what's taking no to the World Cup should be that game against PSG.
No, he played well. Funny enough, he played well this season.
You are
against PSG. You might not even say that's the game that brought him, because the first leg he conceded 5 goals. He did not make a save in that match. Almost every ball that came towards him was inside the net. He basically did not make a save. But apart from that match, this season he has been fantastic. So that's why I say sometimes you just respect some people and bring them into the competition. Not because they have done so perfectly well, but because of that iconic respect. This is no others giving everything for Bayern Munich and Germany. So it's just best that you bring him for one more dance. And the fans would love to see him.
Even me, I would love to see him. Then we have the World Cup. Let's take a look at the list from the German side. They call them the German machines. What is actually going to happen and how it is going to happen now? Taking a look, we have defenders. We have Anton, Waldemar Anton, Nathaniel Brown, David Rome, Antonio Rudiger, the man of the man of steel and iron. We have Noko, Steel Becht. Then we have Jonathan Tah. They have Malik Tor. Then we have in the midfield Pascal Gross, Joshua Kimmich, Felix Mecha, Alexander Pavlovich. Then Angelo Stiller, Nadim Amiri, Leon Goretzka. Leon Goretzka has been with BVB. Borussia Dortmund.
This German team is made up of mainly Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, in the likes of maybe some players in PSG, but Bayern Munich make up most of this squad, at least 50% or more than self.
All right, now let's look at the attackers. We have where we have Kai Havertz, we have Leonard Carl, Yama Musiala, Florian Wirtz, Macmillan Bia, Jamie Bellwing, and we have Leroy Sane. Oh my days, I like this guy. Yes. Then Denis Undav, then Nick Woutmade. Let's take a look at the Senegal World Cup 2026 world list. Senegal, the Senegalese side, they released their list also, where we have from the goalkeeper, we have Eduardo Mendy, then we have Mori Dio, Yoman Diouf. That's what we have. Then we are talking about defense, where we have Crepin Diatta, Antonio Mendy, Kalidou Koulibaly, El Hadji, that's the former Chelsea defense. We have El Hadji Malik Diop, we have Mamadou Sarr, we have Moussa Nakate, we have Mustafa Mbo, Abdoulaye Sek, we have Ismail Jacobs, then we have Ile Kamara. In the midfield we have Idrissa Gana Gueye, then we have Papa Gueye, then we have Lamine Kamara, we have Habib Diarra Pate Sis, Papa Patmata Sa, and Barbara Sapoko Noye. Then in the attackers we have Sadio Mane, then Sadio Mane, the big guy, Ismail Sarr, we have Ilman Ndiaye, then we have Asani Diad, Ibrahim Baye, Nicholas Jackson. Oh, Nicholas Jackson, finally you came. Then we have Bamba Dieng and Sharif Ndiaye. Now it is being said that before we get to the Norway side, it has been said that Ousmane Dembele is fit for the final clash.
He's trying to make it like all means that I have to play this final.
He will play the final.
And I hope he does not get injury during that final, because after the final there's World Cup. He should just, I believe, probably will not play 90 minutes.
Yes, or Ousmane Dembele, he's fit.
After first,
my own is that he's fit.
No, it's not 100% fit. It's just the one, him himself is trying to make it possible that I want to play this match. But sometimes I don't know, maybe if it's worth the risk, If you get yourself injured in this final, you will not play the World Cup.
All right, Thiago Silva also, he will be leaving FC Porto after he has won the trophy, and he will leave it as a free agent. It's left for him to retire or just to move to another team.
Silva has done a lot now.
Yeah, Thiago Silva is one of the best defense
that we've seen
in this era.
I don't know why I'm surprised Brazil did not call him.
Yes, I was surprised too, but then he has been a sensational guy. He has been up to the game. Then we're talking about, let's take a look. Maguire is out of the World Cup.
Well, the list is not out. I'm still hoping it's a rumor, but
I hope it's a rumor. But Kobe Meno is
in that. That's why the list is not out. Let's get to see the list.
Now let's take a look at the Norway, because of time, let's take a look at the Norway World Cup squad list. The guys who are going to be coming for the World Cup, who's going to be playing, where we have Orjan Hasjolo Niland, we have Egil Selvik, then Sander Tangvik, and defenders we have Christopher Vasbach, Aja, Frederick B. Jokan, Henrik Flanchena, Sondre Langas, Torbjörn Hegem. Then we have Marcus Holmgren Pedersen, Julian Reason, David Mola Wolf, Leo Ostigard, Telnius Asgard, Frederick Osnes, Patrick Bedge. I've moved to the midfield. Sander Bedge, Oscar Bob. I'm actually looking for one of the guys. If there's someone who is okay, we have Martin Odegaard. Congratulations, Martin Odegaard, after your flop.
It was not the best season.
It has not been his best season, but we still have Haaland in the attacking. That's the most important thing that we have. Most important person.
And this Antonio Musa, this is their number 7. If you have not watched this guy play, Antonio Musa,
I'm sure he's amazing.
He's a great guy.
I'm really sure he's amazing. Now, this is where we call it a morning on this edition of Sports. A wrap on Aneke TV and Aneke TV Sports, of course. Thank you very much. Thank you very much worldwide.
Thank you.
And thank you very much our viewers, wherever you are. The name sounds like like tongues of a kind, but it is very important that you take a look and watch through the World Cup. Still, we come your way same time, same station. On Monday, we'll be bringing you the best of sports and what's happening in the world of sports. For now, have a wonderful time. I am Good Hope Chukuma, the sports oracle. I live and I breathe and I walk in sports. Have a wonderful morning. Bye.
morning and welcome to News Around the Globe on Aneke TV. I am Onyechi and I'm glad to have you join us. The headlines. Presidency dismisses claims of plan to rename Nigeria. Defense headquarters confirms oil abduction carried out by dislodged JAS terrorist. On the foreign scene, African swine fever cases rise by 76% across European Union pig farms. Now the news in details. The presidency has dismissed false reports claiming that President Bola Tinubu plans to rename Nigeria the United States of Nigeria and abolish Sharia law in the north through constitutional amendments. In a statement issued by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the presidency described the report as fabricated and politically motivated. The statement said the publication was designed to create tension and mislead Nigerians ahead of the 2027 general election. The presidency also denied claims that the president intends to forward any proposed legislation code named Project True Federation to the National Assembly. It stressed that constitutional amendments follow a strict legal process involving approval by 2/3 of the National Assembly and endorsement by at least 24 state houses of assembly. The administration urged Nigerians to disregard unverified reports and remain vigilant as political activities intensify. The Defense Headquarters says the recent abduction of community high school in Owerri local government area of Oyo State was carried out by members of Jama'atu al-Sunnah leader Awati World Jihad JAS, displaced from other regions by ongoing military operations. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, stated this in a statement. He explained that intensified military offenses against insurgents in other parts of the country forced some criminal elements to relocate towards the southwest. The military denied reports suggesting it described terrorists in the region as ordinary criminals. According to the Defense Headquarters, its earlier comments were made at providing accurate intelligence-based information and not to downplay the seriousness of the attacks. The statement added that troops, in collaboration with other security agencies and local stakeholders, are continuing rescue and clearance operations in affected communities. Authorities also urge the public to rely on verified information to avoid spreading misinformation capable of undermining security operations. Vice President Kashim Shettima says recent gains recorded against insurgents should not be mistaken for complete defeat of terrorism in Nigeria. Represented by his Special Advisor on General Duties, Dr. Aliyu Modibo, at a book launch in Abuja. The Vice President said defeating insurgency requires sustained vigilance, intelligence gathering, and stronger cooperation between security agencies and communities. He stated that lasting peace cannot be achieved through military force alone, stressing the need for technology, diplomacy, and grassroots engagements in addressing insecurity across the country. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rejected the federal government's proposal to discontinue some university degree programs considered less relevant to the nation's economic needs. Speaking at a news conference, ASU Bauchi Zone Coordinator, Comrade Namo Timothy, described the proposal as short-sighted. He argued that courses in humanities and social sciences remain important in developing critical thinking, communication, and other skills required in modern society. The union was reacting to recent comments by the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, who expressed concern over rising unemployment among graduates in certain disciplines. ASU also raised concerns over unresolved welfare issues, including withheld salaries, unpaid promotion arrears, and unremitted deductions. The union warned that continued neglect of the December 2025 agreements could trigger fresh industrial unrest in public universities. A federal high court in Abuja has nullified parts of the Independent National Electoral Commission's revised timetable for the 2027 general election. Justice M.G. Umar, while delivering judgments in a suit filed by the Youth Party, ruled that INEC lacks the legal authority to shorten timelines provided for under the Electoral Act 2026, particularly those relating to party primaries and candidate submissions. The court held that such timelines are protected by law and cannot be altered unilaterally by the Electoral Commission. Opposition parties and political coalitions have welcomed the ruling, describing it as a victory for internal democracy and political participation. INEC says it is reviewing the judgment and may file an appeal. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released the timetable for the Enugu North Senatorial District by-election scheduled for June 20th, 2026. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner for Enugu State, Dr. Chukwuemeka Chukwu, announced the schedule during a news conference in Enugu. He said the by-election became necessary following the death of the former senator representing the district, Senator Oke Ezar. According to the commission, political party primaries will hold between May 22nd and May 26th, while submission of nomination forms will run from May 29th to June 2nd. Campaigns are expected to begin on June 10th and end June 18th. Dr. Chukwu announced that the senatorial district has 1,488 polling units across 102 wards. He assured residents that adequate logistics and security arrangements had been concluded for a credible exercise. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 3, Mr. Akinwale Kunle Adeniran, has warned officers against negligence, indiscipline, and unprofessional conduct. Speaking during a lecture session in Yola, Adamawa State, Mr. Adeniran said punctuality, discipline, and physical fitness remain essential to restoring public confidence in the Nigeria police force. He also directed supervisory officers to strengthen monitoring and mentorship within the command. According to him, any officer found involved in unlawful detention, harassment, extortion, or abuse of citizens' rights will face disciplinary measures. Mr. Adeniran further cautioned officers against the misuse of social media, especially the leaking of classified information capable of damaging the image of the force. The Imo State Police Command has launched an investigation into the murder of a female nursing student, Wendy Achumba, in Obowo local government area of the state. Police authorities said the victim, who recently completed her midwifery training at the College of Nursing, Umunogo, was found dead inside her off-campus apartment. The police public relations officer in Imo State, Mr. Henry Okoye, confirmed that one suspect has been arrested and is currently assisting investigators. The command assured residents that efforts are ongoing to identify and apprehend other persons connected to the crime. It also urged members of the public to remain calm and cooperate with security agencies. The Court of Appeal sitting in Enugu has adjourned until October 28, 2026, the case involving the demolition of more than 300 houses in the Nkwamo Onuobanike community. The affected residents are challenging an earlier High Court judgment, claiming they were denied fair hearing and proper legal representation during proceedings linked to the disputed land. And a sitting Mr. Taiwo Kupilati, representing the community, applied to withdraw previous applications filed by the residents' former council. Counsel to the respondent, Mr. Benjamin Wobodo, opposed the request and sought an adjournment to file additional documents. The three-member panel granted the adjournment and ordered the respondent to pay 250,000 naira cost to the appellant for failing to file a counter process within the required period. You're watching news around the globe, coming to you live from Aneke TV. For more updates and breaking stories, stay connected with us on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Aneke TV. And now here is a recap of some of the major stories making the headlines. The presidency has dismissed reports alleging plans by President Bola Tinubu to rename Nigeria and abolish Sharia law, describing the claims as false and misleading. The defense headquarters says the recent abduction in Oyo State was carried out by displaced JAS terrorists pushed into the southwest by ongoing military operations. Coming up shortly on the foreign scene, authorities in the European Union says outbreaks of African swine fever in domestic pig farms have risen sharply by 76%.
7 days, countless moments, stories that shape the week. From decisions in the corridors of power to developments affecting everyday lives. From moments of challenge to stories of resilience and progress. This is where the week comes into focus. Week in retrospect, only on Aneke TV.
Welcome back. At least 9 people have been confirmed dead following the collapse of a 4-story residential building in the historic city of Fez in Morocco. Several others sustained injuries, while emergency workers rescued 6 survivors from the rubble during overnight operations. Authorities say the building, constructed in the 1980s, collapsed in a densely populated neighborhood, forcing the immediate evacuation of nearby residents over fears of additional structural failures. Rescue teams and forensic investigators continue searching the debris for possible trapped victims. The latest tragedy has renewed concerns over aging infrastructure in Morocco, especially in older urban districts. In December last year, another building collapse in Fez claimed more than 20 lives, while a similar disaster in Meknes years ago killed dozens after a minaret collapsed. Morocco's housing ministry says more than 38,000 buildings across the country are officially classified as being at risk of collapse. An angry crowd has set fire to part of a hospital at the center of the Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after relatives of a deceased young man were prevented from taking his body for burial. The violence occurred at Labourparty General Hospital near Bunia in Ituri province, where most Ebola cases have been recorded. Local politician Luke Malembe told the BBC that protesters threw stones and isolation tents during the unrest, forcing police to fire warning shots to disperse the crowd. Health officials say bodies of Ebola victims remain highly infectious and require safe burial procedures to prevent further spread of the virus. A healthcare worker was injured during the attack, while medical staff were placed under military protection as security forces restored order. Authorities say the deceased man was a popular footballer whose family doubted he died from Ebola. Dozens of vehicles, including fuel tankers, buses and trucks, have been burnt near Mali's capital, Bamako, as jihadist fighters intensify a blockade around the city. Videos verified by the BBC showed charred vehicles along a major highway about 45 kilometers from Bamako. Witnesses said passengers and drivers were ordered out before the vehicles were set ablaze. No casualties have been officially reported. The blockade is being enforced by Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslim, a militant group linked to Al-Qaeda. The group began restricting fuel supplies to Bamako last year and tightened the blockade after attacks on the city last month. The disruption has caused fuel shortages and rising food prices ahead of the Eid al-Adha celebration. Mali's military government, led by General Assimi Goïta, continues to rely on support from the Russian-backed Africa Corps to counter the insurgency, but attacks on supply convoys have persisted. Hundreds of demonstrators have protested outside the newly opened United States consulate in Nuuk, Greenland, over renewed American interest in the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Protesters marched through the capital carrying banners reading "Greenland is for Greenlanders" and "Make America Go Away," before staging a silent demonstration outside the diplomatic building. The protest followed a visit by United States envoys Jeff Laundrie, whose comments on Greenland's future triggered political tensions. The new consulate, nicknamed Trump Towers by some residents, replaces a smaller diplomatic office and comes amid reports of expanding American military and strategic interest in the Arctic region. Greenland Prime Minister James Frederick Nielsen and several cabinet ministers reportedly boycotted the opening ceremony. Reports indicate that Washington is seeking long-term troop development rights and greater influence over foreign investment in Greenland. While the White House says discussions are aimed at protecting national security interests, local leaders insist Greenland's sovereignty remains non-negotiable. United States President Donald Trump has declared that Washington remains determined to seize or destroy Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium amid ongoing tensions over Tehran's nuclear program. Speaking at the White House alongside Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin, President Donald Trump said the United States had no intention of allowing Iran to retain near-weapons-grade uranium. He added that American forces would likely destroy the material if recovered. United States officials believe Iran possesses about 900 pounds of highly enriched uranium reportedly buried following earlier joint American and Israeli airstrikes. Washington says preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon remains a major strategic objective. However, Iranian authorities have rejected any suggestion of transferring the uranium abroad. Report indicates that Iran's supreme leader has directed the stockpile must remain under Iranian control, deepening the diplomatic deadlock between both countries. The federal government says it is intensifying efforts to remove Nigeria from the International Maritime War Risk List after recording 4 consecutive years without piracy incidents in Nigerian waters. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adeboyega Oyetola announced this at a program in Rivers State. He said piracy across the Gulf of Guinea has dropped significantly, improving investor confidence and maritime trade. The minister explained that delisting Nigeria from the war risk category would reduce shipping insurance premiums, lower import costs, and improve the competitiveness of Nigerian ports. The Made in China Goods Traders Association of Nigeria has appealed to the Chinese government to simplify visa procedures and improve business access for Nigerian traders. Speaking during a visit to the Chinese consulate in Lagos, the association's national president, Chief Adigun Samuel, said traders face major difficulties securing travel documents needed for international trade exhibitions and business meetings in China. The group specifically requested easier access for entrepreneurs attending major trade events, including the Canton Fair, noting that direct participation would improve compliance with international standards and expand business opportunities for Nigerian importers. The association also urged China to introduce scholarship and capacity building programs for Nigerian traders. Members say stronger collaboration between countries would reduce business barriers and strengthen bilateral economic relations. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to improving electricity supply through a new partnership with the Niger Delta Power Holding Company. Governor Oti made this known during a meeting with the managing director of the company, Jennifer Adije, saying reliable electricity remains critical to industrial growth, healthcare delivery, and economic development in the state. The partnership will support direct power supply from the restored Aloji power plant to growing commercial areas in Abia State. The Abia State government has also signed an agreement to acquire electricity distribution assets covering Umuahia, Arochukwu, and Umunochi areas. Authorities say the move will strengthen local electricity regulation and improve power distribution across the state. Butchers in Duse, Jigawa State have expressed concern over rising transportation costs ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, warning that slaughter and meat processing charges may increase significantly. Some of the butchers who spoke to the news agency of Nigeria say transport fares to neighboring markets and communities have risen sharply in recent months, affecting operational expenses at abattoirs and slaughter centers. The head butcher at Duse Abattoir, Ado Sakin Fawa, said the cost of slaughtering a ram now starts from 5,000 naira, while charges for processing larger animals such as bulls have risen above 20,000 naira depending on size. Other meat processors and suya vendors blamed inflation, rising petrol prices, and transportation expenses for the increase in service charges. Despite the situation, operators expressed hope that economic conditions would improve to encourage better patronage during the festive season. Rivers United Technical Advisor Philip D. George says his team is fully focused on Sunday's decisive Nigeria Premier Football League clash against Castina United in Port Harcourt. The former Super Eagle coach spoke after Rivers United defeated G12 FC 2-0 in a round of 64 Federation Cup match played in Benin City. He described the victory as important, but said attention has now shifted completely to the league title race. Rivers United trailed league leaders Rangers International, but by just 1 point, heading into the final match day of the season. The Port Harcourt club must defeat Castillo United and Hope Rangers draw points away to Ikorodu City to secure the title. And now the entertainment news. Nigerian actress and fashion entrepreneur Temi Otedola and music star Mr. Easy have announced that they are expecting their first child together. The couples shared the news through a joint maternity theme posted on Instagram, featuring photographs from a white theme photo session. Temi Otedola accompanied the announcement with a message referencing faith and family. The development comes about a year after the couple held their private wedding ceremony following their engagement in 2022. Temi Otedola later adopted her husband's surname Ajibade on social media platforms. Fans, celebrities and well-wishers have continued to flood social media with congratulatory messages as the couple prepare to welcome their first child. And now to end the news, here are the main stories again. The presidency has dismissed as false and misleading reports claiming that President Bola Tinubu plans to rename Nigeria United States of Nigeria and abolish Sharia law in the northern region. The defense headquarters has confirmed that the recent mass abduction in Owerri local government area of Oyo State was carried out by members of the Jama'atu al-Sunnah Awati Wal Jihad terrorist group. On the foreign scene, authorities in the European Union say outbreaks of African swine fever in domestic pigs have risen sharply by 76%. That concludes the news around the globe on Aneke TV. For more updates and breaking stories, follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube at Aneke TV. Thank you for watching. I am Onyinyechi. Do have a good morning.
Chinua Achebe taught the world that African stories matter. Through Things Fall Apart, gave voice to the colonized and challenged stereotypes. His legacy is proof that the pen can shape perception and preserve identity.
Every day, your health shapes your life, your strength, your choices, your future. Because knowledge is the first step towards well-being.
This is Health Matters, only on Aneke TV.
In the heart of southwestern Nigeria lies Osun State, a land where history, spirituality, and modern life converge. From ancient groves to growing cities, Osun tells a story deeply rooted in Yoruba civilization. Osun State, created in 1991, is home to Osogbo, its capital city, a fast-developing urban center surrounded by rolling hills, farmlands, and rivers that have sustained communities for generations. At the edge of Osogbo lies the Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the last remaining sacred forests in Yoruba culture. Dedicated to Osun, the goddess of fertility, the grove is both a spiritual sanctuary and a living museum of tradition. For centuries, Osun has remained a stronghold of Yoruba identity, where festivals, art, and spirituality are woven into everyday life. The annual Osun Osogbo Festival draws thousands of pilgrims from across the world, celebrating faith, renewal, and cultural continuity. Beyond its sacred heritage, Osogbo is a growing city where tradition meets modern commerce. Markets bustle with traders selling textiles, food, and crafts, reflecting the entrepreneurial spirits of its people. Osun State is also a center of education, home to institutions such as Obafemi Awolowo University in nearby Ile-Ife and Osun State University, shaping the next generation of leaders. Young people here represent a bridge between tradition and innovation. In Ile-Ife, mythology and history intertwine, believed to be the spiritual birthplace of the Yoruba people. It remains one of Africa's most culturally significant ancient cities. Bronze works and archaeological discoveries here continue to attract global attention. Agriculture remains the backbone of Osun's economy. Cocoa, yam, cassava, and maize farming sustain rural communities across the state. In recent years, small-scale industries and digital entrepreneurship have begun reshaping its economic landscape. Like many Nigerian states, Osun continues to balance development with tradition, investing in infrastructure, education, and healthcare to improve the lives of its people. From sacred groves to modern cities, Osun State remains a living testament to Nigeria's cultural depth and evolving future. A place where heritage is not only remembered, but lived.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you work. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world. Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you work. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
It's a wonderful and a bright Friday morning here in the city of Enugu. And on that note, I welcome you to Sunrise here on Aneke TV. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. I am Princess Ken Ochama.
And I'm Good Hope Chukuma. Like she has said, thank you very much for joining us. This is Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness, love, and purpose, and bring you that daily dose of brightness and joy. You are here live in our studio from vibrating. Yes, stay with us as we bring you the best of the update and the world of politics and what it is.
And good morning to you and to our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in transit, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
All right. I mean, they've said it all. Thank you for joining us. It's another Friday. It's another end of the week. I know last week I asked Good Hope what his weekend is often like. But seeing how the week has gone and see all that we've had to study this week on the newspapers, I mean, what's your feel like, or how do you feel going into the weekend living in Nigeria at this point?
Basically, I am going into the weekend with the feeling of let's just go and see what Monday holds, because the weekend is very fast and tomorrow is already Saturday. Then on Sunday in church all the day. Then on Monday you're back. Then talking about Nigeria is really coming up. The informations and updates we're having seems to be important. Now it's a election season, so every of the political parties they are scampering through to ensure that they do what they have to do best so that they can appear on the ballot. But then this weekend is going to be awesome for me. Thank God it's Friday. Yes.
All right. Weekends in Nigeria are always a jolly period. You know, Nigeria is a very wonderful country to be in. Virtually, where law is selective in its application, where you can speed to the last speed limit of your car, and then get away with it. It's a very, happy place to be with, and we're hopeful that things keep getting better, that as we get into the campaign season, the right people would get to be, given the opportunity to run for positions. However, like I do say, weekends in Nigeria are usually for jollof rice.
Weekends for me come and go like a blip. I mean, 1 minute it's Friday and the next minute you are into Monday. Yeah. And of course you have to get up and get on with the rest of your day. All right, now we'll bring to you our quote for the day. This quote, like I often say, is just something to remind you, something to get you going on your day, something to set your day and your mind in perspective as we prepare for the election and, the determining of the next politicians and the government of Nigeria. Now, this morning, our quote is from Lady J. Sabato. She says, "Every election is determined by the people who show up. Every election is determined by the people who show up." I mean, we said yesterday a vote has to count, and the other day we said the majority is not decided by people who participate. Yes, the majority is decided by the people who participate. So this morning we're saying that every election is determined by the people who show up. If you don't show up, there is no election. If people don't come out to vote, the election is null and void.
Yes, every election is determined by those who show up. So this is also in the showing up. What is included in the showing up is also staying back to see that your vote counts. Because we have to really sensitize the people on how the process is, how you should, participate, not just in, casting your vote or showing up. Some people show up and they gist their way out, or they drink or they have a good time at the election, polling unit. Also ensure you stay back and let your vote count. Please let your vote count. Stay till the end of the election. Stay till the election, the resident electoral officer starts to count the vote, and stay till the votes are counted. It's very important so that you will know. In case on the screen outside the election, when the election will transfer to the next place and they are talking about it on the screen, you have to ensure that it actually counts so that you can know the figures and can confirm with them the figures. It is very important and very, very much important because people cast their vote and they leave. So part of the process, you vote and you wait until it's counted. So that this is also a way that we curb, all those election malpractice and the rest of them, so that we can have a wonderful election. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, looking at these quotes, what a wonderful quote from Lady J. Sabato. When we talk about election, it has to do with a process. Beyond being available and showing up to cast your vote, you need to participate in the process as well to know that it's beyond casting votes. You need to see through the process. There has to be vote counting, and after vote counting, there is a vote announcement. So you have to make sure that the vote casted are counted and that your vote counts. It defeats the situation or the process if you do not stay back and see that vote counts. It amounts to nothing. And we'll tell you, it starts with getting to register your PVC. For your PVC, get it, keep it handy, and then on that day, the usual southeastern style, get all the the beers and the whiskeys, take them to the polling unit, sit down there, get some music, enjoy it there. Do not go play football in the streets. No, there, sit up, wait for the votes to be counted. You see what Abia State is enjoying today, because we'll have people who showed up, make sure that their vote counted, and they're enjoying the dividends of democracy today.
All right, people who participate in elections are enjoying the dividend of their democracy today. So Lady J. Sabato is reminding us this morning that every election is determined by the very people who show up to that election. So prepare yourself, prepare your mind as we keep preparing and walking towards the 2027 general elections. We'll take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be reading out our weather report for today. Stay with us.
"7 days, countless moments, stories that shape the week. From decisions in the corridors of power to developments affecting everyday lives. From moments of challenge to stories of resilience and progress. This is where the week comes into focus. Week in retrospect, only on Aneke TV.
You're still watching Sunrise here on Aneke TV. Next, we'll take a look at the weather report across major cities in the southeast today.
Good morning, Oka, Anambra State. Oka is matching this morning's energy with light thunderstorm rain at 26 degrees Celsius. It feels like 30 degrees Celsius and a heavy 90% humidity. The daytime high hits 31 degrees Celsius, that's the afternoon, and the city holds the highest rain probability in the region today with 80% chance of heavy thunderstorms later in the day.
Enugu starts off with a light thunderstorm rain. It's 26 degrees Celsius out, but feels like a slightly sticky 28 degrees Celsius with 90% humidity. Later on, the afternoon brings a heavy thunderstorm warning. Temperatures will peak at 30 degrees Celsius, and there is a 65% chance that the heavens will open up during the day.
Good morning, Abakaliki, Bonny State. Abakaliki is seeing some early light rain. It's 27 degrees Celsius with an atmospheric real feel of 31 degrees Celsius later in the day. It's going to be the warmest spot in the zone today, pushing up to a high of 32 degrees Celsius. While the afternoon forecast calls for scattered thunderstorms rather than a total washout, there's still 65% chance of rain to look out for later in Abakaliki.
In Ower, it is warm and a humid morning. The current temperature is 27 degrees Celsius, but it feels like a hot and humid 31 degrees Celsius under a light drizzle. The heat stays steady with a high of 31 degrees Celsius, but expect the weather to turn dramatic with heavy thunderstorm forecast for the afternoon with a 65% chance of precipitation.
Good morning, Omahia. Omahia is currently sitting at 27 degrees Celsius this morning, but feeling closely to 31 degrees Celsius with 90% humidity and some early light thunderstorm rain. The daytime temperature will top out at 30 degrees Celsius, and the afternoon plans will likely face standard thunderstorms with a 55% chance of rainfall later in the day.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, dress light, and do keep an umbrella handy. But remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report here on Sunrise. We'll go on a short break and we'll return with more updates. Stay with us, please.
From the tiniest cells to the farthest galaxies, life holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Why are we here? What connects us all? What unseen forces shape our destiny? Join Professor Jude Udenta as he explores the wonders, the questions, and the revelations that define existence. Mysteries of life, where every answer sparks a new discovery. Watch now on Aneke TV every Monday.
You're welcome back. This is still Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now, going straight into our newspaper headlines for this morning. Our papers are from The Guardian, Vanguard, Daily Sun, The Punch, Daily Trust. That's the 5 papers we'll be reading out this morning. The Guardian, The Vanguard, Daily Sun, The Punch, and Daily Trust.
And joining us this morning with in-depth analysis, deeper insight to debone these news issues is Aneke TV's in-house analyst, Res Arum. Mr. Res, what a pleasure to have you on a Friday.
Well, thank goodness it's Friday. Always a Friday is always heartwarming. To me, I feel like after today's work, you go back and then have a beautiful weekend.
Relaxing with lights, ready washing.
That is if they will give us
your clothes,
if they give us electricity.
Lots of pepper soup.
If they give us electricity.
But you don't need electricity to enjoy pepper soup.
No, to iron your clothes and possibly have a glass of cold beer.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rex, it's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like Mr. Rex already has his weekend planned for him. Starting off with The Guardian, it says, this is an INEC timetable. Relief for opposition as parties weigh options after court ruling. Relief for opposition as parties weigh options after court ruling. Also on The Guardian, we have Kwankwaso denies working for Tinubu's re-election in 2027. That's on The Guardian newspaper. Then to Vanguard. It says, on the 2027 elections, court voids INEC's timelines on party primaries and nomination. Obey court verdict. Renew poll timetable. Parties tell INEC. Court vindicates me on timetable. Wenga Hashim says court voids INEC's timelines on party primaries and nomination. Now to the Daily Sun. Court annuls INEC deadline for parties' election timetable. Sets aside revised rule on party primaries. Submission of candidate particulars. Withdrawal and replacement of candidates that conflict with the Electoral Acts of 2026. Also on the Daily Sun, Annual Co and others raise the alarm over worsening insecurity, poverty, and demand urgent action from the federal government. And on the Punch newspaper this morning, APC unveils 25 governor candidates as Kwara and Bauchi suffer delay. Says Hamzat, Ali, Yayi emerge in Lagos, Oyo and Ogun. 16 sitting governors return unopposed. Consensus crisis, logistics stall governor primaries in Kwara and Bauchi. Chinda emerges Rivers APC governor candidate. Party unveils presidential primary guidelines. That's on the Punch. And lastly on the Daily Trust. Still on 2027 elections, court opens door for defections. Court opens door for defections. And also on the Daily Trust, Tinubu appoints Professor Aina Jam Registrar.
Alright, we'll start today's newspaper commentary with the Vanguard. Vanguard says one of the headlines there, 2027 court voids INEC's timelines on party primaries, nomination of candidates. The court has reportedly invalidated the timelines issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission for political party primaries and candidate nominations ahead of 2027 elections, a ruling that could reshape electoral preparations and party strategies nationwide.
Mr. Ress, let's dig in.
Well, you see, that is why we always call for rule of law. A law is said to truly be a law when it is challenged in the court. When a law comes into the court, the discretion of INEC to make the timelines outside what has been prescribed by the law, by the National Assembly Act 2026 Electoral Act, they now use their discretion to make the timeline. But the court has said no, that their position is ultra-vires. That is to say that they shouldn't have made a law that conflicts with the law made by the legislature. And that is exactly what has played out here. And now the court has said, no, it cannot be. Of course, we had thought earlier that defections after losses of primaries may no longer happen. But the way it is now, it's like the court has opened door for defections. And some of the political parties that has not done their primaries may have an influx of other persons coming into their political parties, de-registering themselves from their initial political parties and going over cross-carpeting. Of course, we know that ideological politics does not actually survive in this place. Therefore, people move from one political party to the other to seek for power. Therefore, the time for serious cross-carpeting of those who feel that have been maltreated by their parties may happen this time. So that is the situation in Nigeria. I think the court has done noble, except somebody moves on an appeal and asks the court to reinterpret that, because we do know that even INEC, by the constitutional provisions, has power to make those bylaws. So, but I know that bylaws were made as insofar as it is inconsistent with superior laws or the Constitution, it is void. Yes. To the extent of its inconsistency.
I mean, if INEC has come out to say that they would, I think I read this morning that they would appeal. So if they are not comfortable with what these parties have said, or what the court has said, that they don't have right to annul and change, and they go back, make their review and come back, we'll see it. We'll see how, things turn out. Court says something, INEC says another, INEC comes back to say court said. So it's just going to be a back and forth.
That's exactly why I say there's no time.
You see, this instant there is no back and forth. They just go to a superior court to the appellate court, yes, to either uphold or revert what the High Court has ruled in this instance. But Mr. Reyes, when you look at this situation, yes, INEC said they will challenge. And for the first time, I'm so excited with the Nigerian court, the boldness of a High Court to come out to let INEC know that he has overreached his bounds by going beyond what is stipulated in the Electoral Act 2026. When you go through that ruling of Justice Mohammed J. Omar, you will see that INEC overreached itself by negating or going, beyond section 29, section 31, 32, 33, 30, 84, 98 of the Electoral Act, going to enrich themselves by trying to abridge the statutory period of 120-day window for the submission of candidates' names, like you did say, and in this instance, shortening the 90-day window for withdrawal or substitution of candidates in this instance. And I'm quite excited. However, while we celebrate this, I know it's not yet Uhuru, because they may appeal the judgment. But you know what it reminds me, Stares, that the political parties, especially the opposition, and other politicians that will stand to enjoy the benefit from this ruling if INEC fails in its appeal, did not do much when they were supposed to stand up and question the whole process. And in this instance also is the fact that INEC needs to be, very circumspect in its actions leading to the election. Remember that the process is as important as the election itself. If we do not have a credible process, then the outcome of the process will definitely be challenged. And this is why it becomes quite worrisome for me that the INEC, under the leadership of Josh Amopitan, seems to be taking always questionable steps, starting with the issue of the status quo antebellum, when it has to do with the ADC in this instance. And then looking at this whole situation,
the issue of timetable.
Yeah, the issue of timetable as well, where the High Court had come to set the record straight. And I am quite optimistic, to say the least, that the appellate court would be able to uphold this sound judgment. But every Nigerian, and most especially INEC, should go back to the drawing table. They need to begin to watch their steps. They need to take a position where people will not be able to think that they are working, as it's been alleged, working for the ruling political party in this instance.
I see from my perspective, INEC has a legal unit, and from my perspective, it seems the legal unit is not in depth in trying to analyze situations. It is the right, and when I say right, constitutional right of the parties, political parties, to enjoy that time for the purpose of ensuring that they put their ass together. But is
that period that is sweetens the whole political process. Sure. Where you see the politicking, the horse trading, the campaign, and institutions like that brings in the intrigue. For example, if one wants to move to Rivers State, for example, where the governor of Rivers State, Fubara, has stepped aside from the APC primaries and all that, giving a window that he has the chance now to move to another political party, submit himself to the process if he has that courage or the way to test his popularity in Rivers State. It is this process that INEC is trying to abridge that makes us look forward to this period of politicking, horse trading, campaigns, primaries and all that, and they seem to want to take that away from the process.
Yeah, so that is why the court stepped in, and because somebody went to court. If nobody had gone to court, the status quo would have remained and nothing would have been done. Therefore, that's why I said it is good that you challenge situations to find out what would be the interpretation of such things. This window, you cannot abridge it because you are INEC, because you've been given a constitutional right to make bylaws. You cannot make bylaws that will impede on the process, that will not give room for effective politicking by the political parties. No, you cannot do that. But you see, the High Court have been able to exonerate those who feel that it's a bad thing for them to have done, for INEC to have done. And therefore, you mentioned Fubara just a few minutes ago. Fubara has stepped aside. Sure, Fubara is not most likely going to run for the governorship of Rivers State. But somebody from Fubara may run under the political party of NDC. He has already taken a form. And that person from Fubara may equally be a family member.
It's not maybe, it's Blessing Fubara. He's a family member of the incumbent governor of Rivers State. However, I don't know what to turn into that at this instance. Yes, I don't know what to turn into that place in this instance, because it takes the bold mind for someone from the family, an immediate family of a ruling incumbent, to go into another party, take up a nomination form for the very position your family member is occupying in the States. But like we did say, it's not yet to
it's
not yet to hurl.
It's not yet to hurl. It could still be a plot. It could still be I can't get it here. Let's see if I can get it from this side.
Let us just be patient. Let's just be patient and watch these things unfold. And with this ruling of the court, there are a lot more things that will unfold. However, Mr. Rest, let me raise my worry. And it is anchored on the position of former President Goodluck Jonathan. That, as we read yesterday, even though we do not align completely with him, because he has been at the helm of affairs and had the chance to set things right, but the point remains that it's worrisome that a lot of our processes, a lot of our electoral processes are, even the outcome of our electoral process are being determined by court. We'll keep going to court for several interpretations of processes that should have been, set straight from the time being, that people need not to be left in confusion. But here we are, each moment we have to run to the court for them to set the record straight. It becomes more worrisome, even against the background that even the 2020 election, the presidential election, has to be called by the court. At the end of the day, it was the court that called it. We are still reeling from the situation, for example, in Imo State, where Hope Uzodima's emergence as the governor of the state is still a question of conjecture and academic exercise in questioning how the higher courts come about the mathematical equation that brought in Hope Uzodinma as the incumbent. But it leaves more to be desired, like Mr. former president did raise yesterday, that you need not to let the court begin to be the one to determine who and who gets what and who occupies what position in Nigeria?
That is lack of stable political process in Nigeria. We have political instability. We have a process that is not devoid of those factors that are inherent in Nigeria. These factors tend to affect and mar the process. And when the process is not gotten right, certainly people must be aggrieved. And when they are aggrieved, they will seek redress from court. That's why we have never had any election without the courts coming in to actually say the final word on who won and who lost. That is the situation in Nigeria.
On that note, we'll call on INEC, the political parties, to please play by the rule, stick to the rules of the game, obey the constitution of the land. There are set rules. If we play by these rules, we will not go into fistfights or court litigations. In the end, what matters is that this process that leads to the actual election is seen to be clean, fair, and at the end of the day, one can say that we had a free, fair, and credible election.
Okay. Now, Punch tells us this morning that APC has unveiled 25 governor candidates as Kwara, Bauchi suffered delay. So, as at yesterday, 25 governorship candidates in the APC have been announced. But we have, out of the 36 states, we have, I think about, what's the mathematics now? Even 8 or 9. Now, out of that, the remaining 8 have, they've not conducted their elections because they have, according to the news, they have election timetables.
Off-cycle elections. Yes.
And then 2 states, Kwara and Bauchi, had theirs postponed because they couldn't arrive at a consensus. Who is going, who are we taking. Then lastly, Nasarawa, their own was postponed to today because their materials arrived late. So in the case of Kwara and Bauchi, now we've seen the ones that have happened in other states. It's been peaceful, everybody has agreed. But Kwara and Bauchi has decided that, I don't know, this consensus issue, who is. So how do we see this playing out, seeing that APC so far has 30 states in the country?
Well, the process is on, and they have finished that of 25 states. Possibly, even after doing all that, there are certainly going to be some matters even before the court. Some people will still go to find out from the court if the process has been rightly done, if there's been any form of breach in the constitution of the party or the constitution of the electoral act in the process of electing candidates by the political parties. So that of Bauchi and Kwara, is a little stalled, and there are in one of the states they were protesting because they felt that certain persons were going to now impede and begin to do things to favor one person or the other. And they felt that everything should be done transparently. And that is the protest. A peaceful protest anywhere. There hasn't been any kind of serious crisis. Peaceful. Calling on the persons that are vested with the responsibility of managing that election to manage it well and guide the electoral materials in such a way that they will have an election, a nomination that will be fine and accepted by all and sundry. So the process is still on. APC will still come out with all their 31 states. In some other states that has no election because of the staggered election, that's a circular election. It is all there. We will still get to see what comes out of there. But 25 and the 2 remaining will soon, Nasarawa too, yes. They will all soon be done. Even when we expected that people like the Benue governor, who is contending with the candidate of the SGF, that is the Secretary of the Federal Government, Alea still had his way. I got nomination, except for River State, where Fubara steps aside, and eventually Chinda came in, the nominee of Almighty wike. You know, we call him Almighty wike now because his actions moves as if whatever he says it must be done. I don't know where he derives his power from, but wherever he derives it from, he has Chinda as the governorship candidate of APC in Rivers State.
Yes, quite well articulated. The point remains that in as much as the APC wants us to see that this process, is seemingly going, fine without issues and all that. That's why I'm so happy with this judgment of the High Court, coming out to set these rules aright. What we're seeing is a well orchestrated, micromanaged process to lead to an already a designed end. This process in itself will continue to wait and see the implosion that most likely APC is quite scared of, that they do not want that implosion to happen. But we are beginning to see different opinion, individuals who are not, like you rightly pointed out, who are not as happy as APC would want them to be, and to be quiet about it and then form in line with the decision of the leadership of the party. So for us, we will continue to monitor and see how this unfolds, especially in places where there are still a lot of issues around it. And the question remains that if this individual who feels shortchanged, are we expecting them to remain in the fold, while working for the good of that party in their various states? These are the angles where we are open and will keep monitoring to see how it continues to unfold, if this expected implosion in APC would come about, given that this process is well micromanaged.
All right, we go on a short break. We'll be right back with other updates. Stay with us.
From the tiniest cells to the farthest galaxies, life holds secrets we are only beginning to uncover. Why are we here? What connects us all? What unseen forces shape our destiny? Join Professor Jude Udenta as he explores the wonders, the questions, and the revelations that define existence. Mysteries of life, where every answer sparks a new discovery. Watch now on Aneke TV every Monday.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at the headline in the Daily Trust. Tinubu appoints Professor Aina as JAMB Registrar. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Professor Aina as the new registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, signaling a leadership change in the agency responsible for conducting tertiary institution entrance examinations in Nigeria. Mr. President has, signaled there could be a need for this change. I mean, talking about changing Professor Isaac Oloyede and bringing in Professor Aina. This is something in this particular cadre of the education sector, of the tertiary institution entrance examinations in Nigeria, where there are these kind of updates come up. And Professor Aina is someone who has actually been at the forefront of the tertiary and education system in the architecture of Nigeria's education unit. Now, Mr. President appointing him has signaled that change that is coming. I mean, having Professor Isaac Oloyede serving for years, and then Professor Isaac has already thanked Mr. President for the days the period which he has spent as the JAMB registrar. Of course, JAMB and conducting the examination across all institutions, the UTME and the rest of the external examinations, under Professor Isaac Oloyede has been very, they have made a lot of marks, they have made a lot of progress, and we are expecting Professor Aina to take it further to ensure there's more of that clinical finishing for the JAMB, Joint Admission Matriculation Board, for the department. Yes.
All right. One thing I would like to point out in this appointment is the president's strategy of appointment, if he looks and sees that probably you're not fulfilling your duties in a certain position, referring to the special advisor that he appointed, where we already had a minister of defense. So when he sees that you're not doing what you're supposed to do even before your tenure expires, and it's not like you're officially fired, you're still there, because this does not tell us that this person has finished his tenure enough to come out, but he has reappointed someone else. So I feel like with this new appointment, we see, I mean, JAMB has come out to tell us weeks ago that they have reduced cutoff marks from a certain number to 150 for tertiary institutions. So I don't know what the grand plan is, where you reduce cutoff marks and now you've appointed a new director for JAMB. So I just hope and believe that there is a new change that is coming to the education system, and it's obviously starting from the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board.
Well, it is not about non-performance. It's not about, although, within the period of Oluwede, there's been some few scandals about hacking into the portals of JAMB and the changing of marks and all that. But it is not unusual. Everywhere in the world, hackers are there, try to go into portals of organizations and look for whatever that interests them. So, but the fact is that the JAMB registrar has his tenure coming to an end. His tenure will come to an end on 31st of July, and certainly there won't be a lacuna. So the presidency deemed it expedient to ensure that there will be a smooth transition, handover from the new appointee to the former registrar. That's exactly what happened. And I think with the young man, because we have Professor Aina, a young man of about 39 years, he will be 40, in July. Of course, in the same July. So we see that when you bring young blood into a system, you are re-energizing that system. So the JAMB office will become a new JAMB with a young mind and a young idea, young ideas and all that. He's well schooled in computer engineering. He's well schooled in computer engineering. He has done several courses allied to everything that has to do with examination, computer and all that. He's well tutored in that field, and he has an experience that's enough to manage such an organization. So we are hopeful that the situation that occurred during the registrar Oluwade's tenure will not happen in his own case, because he will be one of the persons that will know how these hackers penetrate and be able to block those loopholes. I think it's a welcome development for Nigeria. It's a welcome development. It's a good deed by the president.
Yes, indeed, it's a good deed. Shegun Aina, being young, and you give it the depth that it requires, and is speaking to capacity in this instance, because he's an engineer, a computer engineer at that matter, and he's been a consultant to both NECO and NATIP, so he's been part of this process. And of course he did his NYSC in JAMB, National Youth Service Corps in JAMB. But be that as it may, we'll understand that yes, the Oluwade will be out by July. But one thing we must speak to truths, and we must speak to these issues. His tenure has been marred by a series of crises. In his period, we'll start talking about hacking. We'll start talking about glitches in JAMB. And in his tenure, we'll now begin to have multiple, examination and re-examination of JAMB students in this instance. We witnessed last year where people were made to rewrite their exams, and where we were told that a certain section of the country, were in the habit of examination malpractice in this instance. So it was a period that was characterized and marred by crisis. And for me, appointing someone who is well seasoned in the world of tech into that position should be celebrated. But you know that in Nigeria, a number of times we've had people appointed into various positions, coming in as technocrats with lots of experiences, and then you see them failing in this very field. We do not pray that Shegu Aina fails in his appointment, but we need to, thoroughly investigate this situation and begin to understand why people, it needs to be studied, why people go into certain position and they are unable to deliver when they become appointees of government, where they've lived up and delivered as private individuals, as private citizens in that regard. I remember quite well that when Nebo, was made the Minister of Power, I was telling people that time that if we do not get it between the era of Nebo and the Bat Naji, that if we're unable to resolve the electricity challenges in Nigeria, being that these are two individuals, especially, speaking to Canon Nebo, a man I know personally, to his capacity, to his sincerity, his ability to get the job done, that if these gentlemen are not able to fix Nigerian, life situation, that is going to take us multiple decades for us to begin to get the process right, and it has happened. So I pray and I hope that Shegu Aina, is able to, deliver in JAMB and begin to see that this process is no longer as cumbersome as it is, where our children go to write this examination and they do not, they don't even have this confidence in the process or in the ability of JAMB to do the right thing. It shouldn't be. Students should, study being confident that when they write this exam, and these are ICT-based exams, that the results can be instant. So why do we have to undergo multiple waiting periods? So these are areas we expect that Aina will do something about. Be that as it may, yes, we've spoken to his capacity, but I need to equally point out the worrisome trend in appointment with this administration. Especially, you look at the appointments we've had since this year and the inception of this administration, it continues to toe the line of the previous administration, which everyone in Nigeria, critiqued, and wouldn't all go well for the federation, where we'll continue to, begin to retrogressively appoint people from certain climes, certain tribes, into position of authority. We must continue to speak out about these things, because Nigeria is a federating unit made up of multiple ethnicities. So we should do away with this issue of winner takes all, because it's looking that way. We did boldly critique the administration of our late dear President Muhammadu Buhari, because it was a lopsided appointment into position, and we've seen that when we have these lopsided appointments, it seems not to augur well for the nation. We need to begin to re-examine our strategy of appointment. When people get into position of national authority, they become fathers of the nation, and they should, in my opinion and my belief, be able to be well acquainted with the length and breadth of this nation, and have the capacity to look and attract people from other tribes into occupying position of public office in Nigeria. Having said that, we'll continue to interrogate this issue, and I do not think in any way that it augurs well for us. When I go back into history and I read Why We Struck, for example, and you look at several issues that were listed as to why you've had military intervention in Nigerian politics, we seem to consciously begin to trade those roles again, and is not going to augur well for this nation. I do not want us to begin to get to a point where we begin to somehow, toe the path that led to this situation in Rwanda. Remember the situation with the Husis and the Tutsis, where people begin to think that when a certain section is in authority, it makes them become, above other regions or above other ethnic group. No. Nigeria has gotten to a point where we'll begin to look at the nation holistically, begin to see that we are one from the same womb of the mother, Nigeria, where appointment has to be balanced. It doesn't matter if you're from Ibibio, or you're from Ijo, or you're from Anang, or you're from Hausa, Fulani, or your Yoruba and all that. No, it should have national coloration. And I am overwhelmed when I look at the appointments of former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999. You saw that that administration had national coloration, and we were able to see the mileage, the achievements in that administration. In everything they did in that dispensation, it had this national correlation, leading me to question, why do we begin to toe these certain lines again?
All right. To add to what you said, I wonder what the criteria for these selections are, because I would think that when it comes to the education body understands, case in point, understand that there's a position that is about to be vacant, I should think that every region should present or would present their best candidate. Okay, who do we think by virtue of qualifications or milestone that they've achieved in their years of work and everything, that they would have a certain criteria. But then again, is the president that is left to decide everything.
Let's not mix it up somehow. It is within the prerogative of Mr. President to appoint whoever he seems fit. It is his constitutional right to appoint whoever he sees fit. And
what Mr. Uche is trying to say is there should be strict conformity to the principles of federal character.
Certain, there is a pool to choose, but I'm just trying to.
Should it be made public? That's actually.
That's it, because if it was, you see, probably we would have persons from other regions being in the same range of appointments.
There are persons.
It is the responsibility bestowed on Mr. President to appoint, and he's saying whoever is president should be able to think about the federal character principles and appoint people from different parts of Nigeria, not appointing from one section of Nigeria. That is where you have ethnic leaning. So he is saying that there shouldn't be ethnic leaning, ethnic chauvinism, or any such thing that could begin to make people think that the president or whoever is at the helm of affairs is becoming sectional.
Because when you look at the last three appointments, it looks like there has
That's exactly what he was trying to say.
No, I get what he's saying, but I'm saying if there was like you already mentioned, something maybe open. Okay, this is the people I had though. These are the people that are qualified.
It doesn't come to that. You don't question the authority. It doesn't come to that. No, it doesn't come to that. You don't question the authority of Mr. President to appoint. You don't question how he comes about it. But one thing is that from the resources of his office, from where he sits, he has that capacity to cut across from Abuja to Ikorebeni. Right? He can go to Anang, anywhere in Nigeria, that he can draw from the pool, the strength that this nation has. But at the end of the day, he has that right to appoint whoever he chooses. He feels is able to deliver on his mandate. Yeah.
Okay, our next headline is from the Daily Sun. It says, Aneke and others raise their alarm over worsening insecurity, poverty, and they demand urgent action from the president. So the former Commonwealth Secretary General, who is also a member of the Patriots, this is a non-partisan group of elders and statesmen, has come out to raise fresh concerns about the worsening cases of insecurity, poverty, and the state of the country at large, referring to the current kidnapping and killing in Oyo State, also the Northeast, the Northwest, how these issues have progressed beyond little crimes. We not see going beyond, just kidnapping people. They are not killing and posting on camera. So he's advocating to the federal government to do something. I mean, this is just, something that we've been hearing over time, but this is a patriot, a top politician coming out to call out these things once again, just to lay emphasis.
Well, this is a super elder statesman with his group. Initially, they had earlier advocated for a constitution, a new constitution for Nigeria, given the fact they rested on the fact that the present constitution is no longer virile enough to accommodate the interests of the people of Nigeria. As such, that is why they are calling and saying that the present way Nigeria is being run is not the best for the country. They need to convoke a national conference such that we come out with ideas, new ideas, think out of the box, and think about things that will make Nigeria work. Because since we've been doing this, the result has always been the same. Since we've been doing this, the insecurity has continued to escalate instead of being stemmed. Since we've been carrying on with this constitution, a whole lot of things have been going on the negative. So he's thinking that Nigeria should now begin to evolve new ideas and new laws that will begin to now impact on the life of Nigerians. Look at it. Insecurity. Farmers are no longer in the farms. Then how do you talk about food? Because people go to farm and they get killed. People go to farm, they get kidnapped, and so on and so forth. They are also saying that it is not working for Nigeria, especially the way they are approaching the insecurity situation. He is saying that poverty has gotten rid of this country. And primarily they mentioned food security. When we talk about security, security of lives and property, it is all encompassing. Security is all encompassing, food security, health security, and all the securities that you might think of, education security and so on. So, but food particularly is a problem. That is why the developed nations are what they are, because the poorest of the poor eat. Here in Nigeria, we have over 63% of Nigerians living under dimensional poverty. We are talking, when you say dimension, that is poverty of all sorts. So people are dying in penury in the midst of plenty. It is unfortunate. Well, an elder statesman like this and his group, very strong group, talking to the federal government. I think the federal government should be able to listen and begin to dissect what they mean and begin to think in the direction of this group and think about what to do to better the lot.
Yes, you've quite analyzed the situation very well. If we are in other climes, when men like this speak, the government needs to take action immediately. This is an eminent group of elder statesmen. When you look at the likes of people, who make up the Petros, you would know that these individuals to be taken for granted. And if Nigeria is a nation that wants to, move at a higher pace, get the fundamentals right, they need to listen when these individuals speak. Because when you look at the correlation of men who make up the patriots, led by Aneke, the former he's a diplomat, the former Commonwealth Secretary General, you will see that these are non-partisan individual men who have the interest of this nation at heart. But be that as it may, you highlighted these issues quite well. You articulated it very well, like they did put it forward. But the part that interests me more is where they were advocating for a new people-oriented democratic constitution to address root cause of governance failure in Nigeria. And there are two key issues for me here. One is that they understand quite well that this 1999 constitution that is inoperational, one, is a military document against the provision that erased that we, the people of Nigeria, there were no people of Nigeria. It was a military document handed over, and if you see that that constitution in the way it is. It needs several amendments. Yes, we've been amending, but the people of Nigeria, and as is advocated by a lot of legal luminaries, a lot of seasoned legal advocates, that there are, a lot of issues in this very constitution that it doesn't drive its authority from the people of Nigeria. It was a certain individual who, were mandated to come up with this very 1999 document. And in this instance, we need to look towards this end. Then the other action, the other part of it, is that they pointed out the governance, the root cause of governance failure that we've had over time. It now tells you that there is something that is fundamentally wrong, deriving from where even our government, even where as a people, where we draw our authority from. And that has to do with the constitution itself. And these issues, every government, that is interested in moving this nation forward should listen to them and look inwards to addressing these key issues. And, it becomes even more disturbing that when we have a successive government, we forget that government is a continuum. We seem to jettison, the actions of previous government. I'm speaking to the fact that there was a constitutional conference, sort of, that was instituted under the leadership of former President Goodluck Jonathan, where individuals that gathered for the first time, it was said that there's never been a gathering of Nigerians to this magnitude, where they had conversation across key issues. And you remember that outside the issue of food security, the other issues there is that there is a need for us as a people to sit down and have a conversation. Remember that in this time, Sharia is still an issue in Nigeria, that people from certain region are so circumspect and suspicion of anyone who talks to and gets closer to issues around Sharia. And where you come back to maybe other region, there are still other issues where there are discrepancies, and these things needs to be discussed for us to, even from that extent, begin to interrogate our issues. Because until we do this, look at the issue of insecurity, kidnapping and all that, leading to why we need to sit down. I over time advocate for us to have a Nigerian solution to these Nigerian issues. Yes, we may seem overwhelmed and there is need for collaboration, but we need to come together, have a conversation, chart a pathway to solving our issues. And I do know that is not far from what the patriots are advocating for in this very instance. Thank you. And then, in the other news, as is coming from Frontline Africa, we heard in the news that in Congo, there was a hospital that was, set ablaze as a result of issues around the Ebola crisis, where a family that wants to get hold of their dead family members' carcass or corpse, refused to be persuaded not to take away the corpse, and then they had to set ablaze a certain portion of this hospital set aside for the management of Ebola cases in this instance.
That's so dramatic.
Okay. Honestly, firstly, I would like to say that human beings can get really emotional. I mean, we are emotional beings, but we get really emotional because I don't see how a nation is plagued by a virus and the medical experts are telling you that you cannot take this dead body. Let us find a way, let us reach a consensus, let us find how to bury this person. So you yourselves that are coming to carry it does not get infected. But because you believe that we're also spiritual and very superstitious. Now you believe that because they are not your family member, you reserve the right to bury your family member however way you deem fit. You decide to go ahead and burn down a hospital. So now that you've burned down that hospital, how will these medical practitioners help your country, help your citizens that are in there, that are suffering from these cases, that are suffering from these diseases? So I just feel like it was just a case of penny wise, pound-filling situation. There was no need for them to burn down the hospital. They should have reached an agreement with the hospital on how to bury their family member.
Are you burning down a hospital where they told you or they are taking care of the people who are, Ebola infected people? You burn down that section because they told you don't take away that dead body. Now, what did you do? We are talking about, this is mostly in Africa, I would say. Sorry to start with this. It is. Because, like she said, the people have deemed it, they are so emotional at that moment. Do you know, next 2-4 hours, they'll start to rethink what happened. Now, your family member contacted Ebola, and you were told to keep your family member who has already died. Just keep this person and let us find a way to get these things done. You said no. In fact, I think they even have to burn the virus. In their mind, they say we are going to burn this hospital and burn that. That is so crass and rude. It's crass and rude. Yes.
Well, you see, we are Africans. The Africans are timid. We lack information. Somewhere in the Bible it said, my people suffer because of lack of knowledge. Our cultural practices are such that tends to make us not align with modern scientific procedures. And these scientific procedures, we do not respect it culturally. That is why people should insist on taking a victim of Ebola virus, taking them openly to contract this virus and spread it further for the people of Congo. It's unfortunate that it so happened. But at the same time, where are the security agencies that should have prevailed on them? Yes. Where are the security agencies? Why are the hospital management? Why did they not be proactive enough to contact the security agencies in such a way that they'll be barred from taking such action as burning
maybe they felt they could reason
part of the hospital. So it is disheartening and unfortunate. So we Africans, we should begin to give orientation to our people so that we have to now, merge, understand our culture and the relationship between the culture and scientific principles, so that we will not, because of our cultural practices, disobey scientific things that could bring us very bring us a kind of malady, bring us something that is wrong, bad for the society. So those people should have actually be restrained from taking such action through the use of security agencies.
All right. And then another issue as reported by frontlineafrica.com.ng, it says presidency reacts to report of plan to rename Nigeria, abolish Sharia law. The presidency has dismissed a false Vera report alleging that President Bola Tinubu plans to initiate constitutional amendment to change Nigeria's name to the United States of Nigeria and abolish Sharia law in the north.
So we are now sharing name with United States of America.
First of all, it's a rejection of, it's a disclaimer on intentions. That's what it says. It's a disclaimer on the intentions, on a rumor. That's what it is. It's a disclaimer on a rumor. But then,
I wonder how the name would sound.
No. I'm not even going further to talk about the name. First of all, federal government has given a disclaimer
that they did not say.
Yes, on the rumor, we could say. However, if it is something that it has a closer truth, I will tell you that we are going into a more important, we're going into a very difficult scenario now, because having Nigeria as United States of Nigeria is going to be very, very interesting. However, it's a rumor and alleged. Federal government has even disclaimed the rumor on the rumor, so it's fine. It's fine.
Fake news. When there is fake news, for me, my problem or worry is that the presidency had to come in to make to boost this story.
I mean, I wonder how they generate the story.
So they boost this story. I don't know why they want to boost this story.
Yes.
Because when it is fake, it's fake. It's supposed to be inconsequential to them. It means nothing because nothing has actually shown that there is any such move.
Yes.
So if anybody is lying or coming out with a fake news and you now go to begin to amplify, thank you, just amplifying a fake news, a rumor, a rumor that has no bearing, you said is going to sponsor a bill in the National Assembly. Wait until a bill comes from the presidency to the National Assembly. Then people will begin to talk about this and not, becoming a champion of fake news. Because the man who had to do it on behalf of the presidency is just trying to make himself a champion. What does that mean? Why are you responding to that? How can you respond to rumors? How can you respond to rumors? A trained journalist, an image maker of government? No, I do not subscribe to that. I will not respond to that kind of rumor. There are rumors that could be responded to, but not this kind of rumor. How can you say that the presidency is sponsoring a bill in the National Assembly, is trying to rename Nigeria, and is going to banish Sharia law? That is a propaganda. And if such propaganda comes, you don't escalate it. You manage it. That is the way in media management, public relations management. You don't escalate stories like this. What you do is you manage it, and it will die a natural death.
All right. For one, I do not blame the federal government in this instance for responding. When you say it's rumor, and if unchallenged, may have the take time to begin to be assumed to be truth. And when you listen to Bayo Ononoga, denouncing this rumor, he said it was engineered to cause political unrest. And you understand that a certain section of this nation hold Sharia to a very high esteem. Therefore, the presidency needed to react quick because we are getting into the electioneering season, and this could be used as a ploy to discredit this very administration. Having said that, you understand that yes, a lot of things, there are many intrigues when you see that things are being seen as rumor, and at the end of the day, it metamorphosed to be or to have a semblance of truth in it. Be that as it may, I think Bayo Ononoga, lived up to expectation in his responsibility by coming out to let, Nigerians know, especially those from those sections of the nation where Sharia is of quite importance, by coming to let them know that there was no tin in the offing. But be that as it may, looking at the United States of Nigeria, that would be so wonderful. It then means that we begin to practice true federalism. Because every state on their own, an independent state of the federation. I wouldn't know how that would play out. There are many people who have been. Many people are hoping for us to return to regionalism, and here we're having United States of Nigeria.
I think Mr. Rex has something to say about this.
He doesn't seem pleased with
you remember when the rumors about former president, late president, when they said he died. I do not know how many times the presidency actually made any such statement defending that the president did not die, because the president was always seen addressing the people. You see, when you begin to defend, but nobody did that. The presidency were not coming out to begin to defend that one and this one. Which one is more?
Which of the presidency are you
the former
about?
president, late President Buhari, Muhammad Buhari was saying. It was not until some people took the courage to ask him, Mr. President.
Mr. Rex, the thing with rumor, it stems from somewhere.
Anyway,
in every rumor.
That's what I'm saying.
We are running out of time, but the point remains that for me, we all can hold our individual opinion, but these things have the capacity to assume the capacity of truth. Even the issue you cited, a large number of Nigerians believed that the man in question was already dead and gone, in this instance. However, let us thank the publishers of frontlineafrica.com.ng for the privilege to cite their publications.
All right, thank you so much. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, this is actually a good story to wrap up this morning. Thankfully, Bayo Nanogo has denounced this claim, because I don't know what it would be when we are still trying to, get to elections and they are telling you that you're no longer Federal Republic of Nigeria, you're now United States of Nigeria. All right, that's all we are taking this, or that's all we can take this morning on the breakfast show Sunrise here on Aneke TV. Till we come your way again next week. I mean, get into the weekend, refresh. If you need to rest, rest. If you need to walk out, clean up, and prepare for the next week. I am Princess Ken Ochoma.
And I'm good, Chukuma. Thank you very much for waking up with us. It's always a pleasure.
Mr. S, what an in-depth analysis. It's always a pleasure having you here on Sunrise.
Thank you, Ms. Uche, for having me, and for you, viewer, keep watching Aneke TV. You'll get the best from us.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Be unique. Keep watching Aneke TV. To come your way, same time on Monday. Bye-bye.
Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility. Security is not just police on patrol. It is safety in homes, schools, markets, and mines. Without it, progress is impossible. Be alert, report danger, support community watch. True security is collective responsibility.
In Africa's most populous nation, women make up nearly half of the population. They vote, they campaign, they mobilize communities, they shape families and economies. But inside Nigeria's highest lawmaking chambers, their voices remain a minority. Today, a proposed constitutional amendment seeks to change that. It is called the Reserved Seats for Women Bill, a proposal that could reshape Nigeria's democracy for generations. Supporters call it long overdue correction. Critics describe it as political tokenism. But one question remains. Can democracy truly represent the people when half the population is largely missing from power? Nigeria has one of the lowest levels of female political representation in Africa. Since 1999, women have struggled to gain significant presence in the National Assembly. Currently, women occupy only a small fraction of seats in both chambers. The Reserved Seats for Women Bill proposes a major shift. 37 additional Senate seats, 1 per state, and the Federal Capital Territory. 37 additional seats in the House of Representatives.
3 additional seats for women in each state House of Assembly. The arrangement will last for 16 years, 4 election cycles. Supporters say it is designed to create small space for women until equality becomes normal. Advocates argue that Nigeria's political structure has long favored men. Campaign costs are high. Party structures are male-dominated. Election violence discourages participation. For decades, reforms have been slow. The Reserve Seats Bill is designed to break that cycle of exclusion. Nigeria will not be the first country to adopt special measures for women's representation. In Rwanda, constitutional quotas helped women become the majority in parliament. In South Africa, party quotas increased female representation after apartheid. In Senegal, gender parity laws transformed political participation within a decade. India and Pakistan also used reserved seats for women in parliament. Supporters argue that without deliberate intervention, equality may take generations. Not everyone agrees with the proposal. Critics argue that democracy should be based on open competition, not reserved positions. Others fear symbolic representation without real influence. There are also concerns about costs and expansion of government structures. A central question remains: must reserved seats be written into the Constitution? Legal experts argue that constitutional backing would ensure stability and protection. Without it, future governments could reverse the policy. But constitutional amendment requires approval by the National Assembly and at least 2/3 of state houses of assembly, making the process politically demanding. But beyond politics, the debate is about representation in society. Advocates say visibility in leadership shapes ambition and opportunity for young women. But experts warn that representation alone is not enough. Broader reforms are needed in education, security, political parties, and economic empowerment. As debates continues, Nigeria confronts fundamental questions about democracy and fairness. Can temporary measures create lasting equality? Will reserved seats empower women or remain symbolic? What does true representation mean in a diverse nation? For supporters, the bill is correction. For critics, it is controversial reform. But both sides agree Nigeria's democracy is still evolving. The future of the bill may depend not only on lawmakers, but on whether Nigerians believe democracy works best when every voice has a seat at the table.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Many thanks for joining us and welcome to The Insight. I am Uche Osai. Remember, The Insight is the program where we bring to you a bit of issues, politics, policies, personalities shaping our nation. And today on The Insight, the political chessboard is shifting and the early move towards 2027 are already exposing the battle lines. Peterobi's emergence as a serious contender, the unsettled alliance questions and around Kwankwaso, the rising tension between the obedient and Kwankwasia movements, and the collapse of broader opposition coalition all point to one hard truth: the race has begun. The victory is far from guaranteed. What does Peterobi's new political position really mean for Nigeria's opposition? Can a movement built on passion, loyalty, and public frustration transform into a structure strong enough to challenge the incumbent power bloc in 2027? Or are we watching the familiar story of hope, momentum, and fragmentation play out once again? These are not just political questions. They go to the heart of leadership, strategy, and the future of Nigeria's democracy. And to help us examine this unfolding story, we are joined by an obedient general, Mr. Ajudichukwu Edechina, the spokesperson, Enugu State Obedient Movement, who will bring insight, perspective, and perhaps the hard truths to this moment that this moment demands. Mr. Ajudichukwu, it's a pleasure to have you on The Insight.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time or so. That should be last year.
Yes.
And here we are now. All right. Let's get into this whole situation. It's a build-up to 2027. In fact, with your principal now in NDC, the dynamics have so much changed. But let's start, first of all, with a congratulations on his passing the screening of the new political party, NDC. Where does that leave you, the obedient movement?
Thank you for having me, and to the viewers out there, thank you for watching. After the 2023 election, our principal, Mr. Peterobi, said that he's going to be here with us till the end, and he promised us that he's going to be on the ballot come what may. And he stood with us, not just the obedient, but when he says he's going to be with us, he's talking about the people of Nigeria. He stood with us. He spoke to the issues as they are happening, the issues as being projected. He spoke to various things since 2023. He has been consistent, So imagine now in this, our new party, the Nigerian Democratic Congress, it's part of the strategy for putting Nigeria in the trajectory for development. When we say new Nigeria is possible, it's not just a mantra, right? It's a conscious effort that we're making to see that we do everything possible to rescue our people from our current oppressors.
All right, before we talk about rescuing the people from their current oppressors, as you would want us to believe, let's look at this movement to NDC. Why did you really move to NDC? Is it based on the fact that he must be on the ballot?
Yes, our principal have said that he's not desperate to be president.
But he shows some sort of desperation for him to move.
No, it is not an act of desperation, but it's a strategic positioning.
Strategic positioning.
Yes. If you remember, in 2023, many of us obedient weren't partisan per se. We were in PDP with Obi. Some of us were in PDP doing the partisan politics with Obi, and we started agitating for him to be given the ticket, because as at that time, he was the best candidate on the table. PDP refused to do that, and then they said we were 4 people
Tweeting in a room.
Tweeting in a room. And those 4 persons tweeting in a room produced 6 million votes as announced by inec. We know we had more than that. So after that, we decided first to form our political party. We made moves to register our own political party, built from the ground up. Those moves were thwarted by the powers that be, and we started to talk. Everybody know what happened with the Labour Party, how Labour Party was divided and practically was killed, and we started looking for a consolidated opposition. But when this whole coalition conversation started, Mr. Peterobi was also very straightforward that he's not going to be in a coalition that does not serve the interests of the Nigerian people. And he gave up his position with the Labour Party, and on the 31st of December last year, we moved into the ADC, the African Democratic Congress. When I mean we, he enjoyed all obedient movement, that we are not going to stay on the sideline this time around, but since we failed to register a political party, that every political party that we are going to run on that, we are going to be part of those political parties. So we moved into the NDC. And moving into the NDC, you could see what happened when we moved. You remember when other politicians moved into the ADC, and when we moved, ADC practically became the opposition party in the country, right? The momentum moved with them. Everybody was talking about ADC and all that. And our request was still the same, that looking at the calibers of people that is, gunning for the presidency in the ADC, our principal, Mr. Peterobi, is still the best ahead of all of them. And we wanted to, for them, he asked for specific things. First, zone this ticket to the south, right? With the spirit of zoning that is, within the political system of Nigeria. But that was not done. The second one is that we're going to do primaries, right? Let's go out there, test our popularity, and let the people vote for who they want to lead. But that was also not being very straightforward.
Being in fairness to the ADC, they've always come out publicly to speak that the OB and the obedient movement wanted a consensus that would be Mr. Peterobi at the focal point in this instance.
No, that we wanted a consensus. It's a different question whether we also wanted to go through the process. We wanted to.
Was Peterobi willing to go through the primaries?
Primaries. First zone this in the spirit of fairness, zone this to the south.
Okay, what you're telling us is that Peterobi would have wanted to go into the primaries if he zoned to the south.
Zone this to the south.
Was he scared of Atiku Abubakar in the primaries?
It's not being scared about Atiku Abubakar, right? It's not, in the words of Mr. Amechi, Atiku Abubakar have been a serial loser, from 1999. So it's not Atiku in his person.
Sorry, Mr. Ajidishku. Let's put it in the right perspective. He's been losing at the national election, but he's been winning primaries. On record, he just lost one primaries.
No, well, he lost to
Muhammadu Buhari, and that's the only primaries he has lost.
Kwankwaso came second. He came third in that. And then if you listen to Yeso Wike and what happened in the PDP, that PDP is now dead, it was still the Atiku factor, right? It was still the Atiku factor. So, and now look at what is happening. Mr. Amechi had to go on TV to say a couple of things a few days back, just 2 days ago, to say that the cracks is already, coming up within the ADC. But that's aside. We've maintained on the process that selects a leader, and we were willing to go through that process, in fairness, equity, and that's what we asked, and that was not being provided within the ADC. It was a toxic environment for us to be in, right? But we came in, we promoted ADC. I was on radio, I was everywhere. We're asking people to join, one, why we're asking people to join, not to just become a political party card carrying member, no, but to also be involved in the process, because we now know that before leaders can emerge, they have to go through the process. They have to go through the screening, they have to come to the people, to present themselves to the people, and the people will have to vote. If consensus is not agreed, the people will come to vote for their preferred candidates. So that's what we were expecting in ADC, but it didn't happen. And by the time we went for the national convention in ADC, you could see where the ticket was going. The OK movements already kicked off. You could see the momentum. You could see the hope that it's now coming back again. People that have lost interest, is this going to happen, started showing up interest again, just by the mention of Obi Kwankwaso merger. And we are thinking that with this new hope, with this new interest, that the ADC will do the right thing, just like we asked the PDP to do the right thing, that the ADC will do the right thing and zone these tickets to the south. Zone the ticket to the south, let us now go into the field, go through the process and produce a candidate. But they didn't do that. Up till now, the ADC have not even decided